See why they have this fan patch to help translate it. That movie was an example of untranslated stuff. What's up, Walrus? Because it didn't make any sense. Alright, good. The transition was actually kind of too quiet now. Whatever. This is to be overwhelming. Alright, let's get back to this game. Second through 56. Quick load. Back here. Most recent one I did. Back there for the most recent one. Why'd I go backwards? What's up, Darksidus? I don't know. It's pretty weird. It seems to be about some kind of serial killer. You're like an otaku or something, and there's some serial killer or something around. But then there's weird shit where your guy's just like tripping out all the time and have these weird delusions. I'm not sure what's going on. He has like a really vivid imagination or something. Why did I go backwards? I'm so confused. Definitely is the most recent one. No, whatever. Figure it out here. What happened before? Fire burned right into the sky. 14 red sinners danced around the incinerator. The flame was fueled by a sailor-style school uniform along with countless textbooks. Yeah, that was the girl burning something? What's going on? Overlooking Seto Island Sea, a girl stood in her home's garden. Steam whistles of boats echoed in the... Oh yeah, this is a whole different chapter. The nearby trees gently sway in the refreshing sea breeze, right? This was such a serene scene, the girl Orihara Kozue, chilling alone in the front of the incinerator, bathed in the somber ambience of its cinders. The girl's gaze was locked onto the school uniform and textbooks as they were slowly reduced to ashes, each becoming clad in a crimson glimmer. Until only yesterday, they had been her school uniform and her textbooks. But having lit the fire herself, the girl did not move from the spot, perhaps with a lingering sense of regret. That too lasted only a moment. She suddenly knitted her eyebrows and covered her ears as hard as she could. Gasped in agony, and yet she did nothing more. The girl did not moan, nor did she raise any tearful complaints. All she let out was a series of ragged breaths. It's in her eyes, say. She shook her head repeatedly from side to side as if to express a fierce, visceral objection. As she did, her strength slowly started to crumble, and she collapsed to the ground. Fell on her backside with a thud. Let her jaw droop as if she utterly exhausted, looked up to the sky with a dazed expression on her face. Minutes later, she was still in that exact same position, not having moved a single muscle. Well, suddenly she turned around with conviction. She heard someone call out to her. Oh. I'm sure when people are talking, I don't have to talk. She looked towards the house's porch. The wooden house, which had been built over 50 years ago, but despite it being daytime, appeared quite dim. The thing beyond the porch could barely be seen. Kozue slowly stood back up and walked over to the porch. At that moment, her mother appeared with impeccable timing.
あら、梢ちゃん。探してたのよ。もう荷物の整理はできたの？
Oh, I gotta move my camera again. Hold on. Kozue probably nodded and slowly sat down.
あさってにはもう、この家ともお別れなのね。
Mother took a seat next to her, gazing towards the inland sea with a gentle look in her eye. Wait, Mother doesn't care that she's burning all her stuff?
東京なんて行くの、梢ちゃんは初めてよね。いいお友達ができるといいわね。
What's up, Mr. See you, dude. At her mother's carrying words, Kozue did not nod, nor shake her head in response. She simply remained silent, gazing wistfully towards the still burning incinerator in the corner of her garden. Oh. Been burned. Another week came, and with it another school day. As usual, I headed to school with my head hung low. Is this first guy again now? Autumn was starting to come into full swing. The leaves of the trees in Shoto Park were slowly changing color, and I was starting to feel chilly in my short-sleeve uniform. It made sense that I'd be surprised by the change of season, given I rarely went outside in the first place. I hadn't really registered that summer had ended. The week consisted of non-stop... Okay, so we're back to the first guy again. The weekend had consisted of non-stop ESO. Grimmick kept bugging about Yua, but I just ignored him. I hadn't got an email from Yua. It rained later. Wow, weird. Since that first one, I hadn't replied to her first one either, so maybe she'd finally given up on me. I really hope that was the case. Whenever I talked to Yua, my feeling always got jumbled up. The interactions always made me have little hope. There was no point in being so optimistic. At the end of the day, I was just an otaku freak. My whole life had never been any success with 3D. I'd just given up on it. He doesn't give me any hope. He doesn't have any hope for me. Just as I thought that, someone tapped my shoulder from behind. I figured it was Nanami or Misumi-kun. When I turned around, I was shocked. Yua! Yua was looking at me with a smile on her face. Her cheeks were a little flushed. Why was she just out of breath?
後ろ姿が見えたから、もしかしたら西条くんかなって思って、走って追いかけちゃいました。
She really not given up yet? Does she still have some hope left in me?
おはようございます、西条くん。やっと言えました。土日を含めて4日もかかってしまいましたけど。先週メールを送ったんですけど、読んでもらってます？
I found myself nodding out of reflex.
よかった。返事がなかったからてっきり届いていないかと思って何度か送り直そうとしたんですけど、我慢しておいて正解でした。
Sub second base. Seriously, what the hell did you want from me? She expect me to like her back? Did she want me to be her boyfriend and want us to live out some intimate lovey-dovey fantasy together? There's no way I could do that. No way I could be that normal no matter how hard I tried. I really wanted to, but it just wasn't possible. I didn't understand why you even liked me in the first place, which made it all the more impossible to trust her. I just couldn't do it.
西条くん、どうしたんですか？
え？
ずっと立ち止まってるので。
And I went, again and again. Upon realizing that, I quickly started to walk away, leaving you behind. Before I could get very far, you had already caught up with me.
昨日、西条くんのクラスに行ったんですけど、いませんでしたよね。もしかして風邪でもひいて休んでるんじゃないかと思って心配だったんです。でも元気そうでよかった。
たまにしか。
はい？
僕、たまにしか学校来ない。みんなから引きこもりって思われてる。
No, Hikikomori. That break the spell? You're totally disillusioned now that you know the truth, right? So I don't mind, I never got my hopes up anyway. Go ahead and call me an otaku freak, and after that never talk to me again.
そうですか。でも今日は会えてよかったです。
What? No. I was left speechless. All I could manage to do was stare at you and smile, but when our eyes met, I got flustered and looked down. How was she not disgusted by me?
っていうか、たまにでも学校に来てるなら、西条くんは引きこもりじゃないと思います。すいません。分かったようなこと言っちゃって。
でも、苦痛だよ。
だとしたら、偉いです。
What? Never thought I'd ever hear someone say that to me. The hell was respectable about being a total loser like me? A gentle smile had spread over Yua's face, a smile so sweet it could cure any disease. That was genuinely what I thought in that moment.
だって、西条くんは辛いのに頑張って学校に来ていますから。普通なら、普通は来られないですよ。
でも、僕はオタだし、キモいし。
私、西条くんの話を聞くの好きですよ。
What the hell? What was all this validation? What was with all this validation? Why did hearing it make me feel good about myself? I felt like he was embracing me all the way down to my core. She was giving me the right to be here, to exist in this moment. It felt like, when I was with her, maybe I could even be a normal person again.
大変、予礼ですよ。
I'm gonna go back to my my shipping container house. I didn't realize until now, but almost all the students were already gone. Everyone had made their way into the school building.
西条くん、それじゃあ私、失礼します。あ、今日の放課後、時間ありますか？
え？
もし、よかったら、一緒に帰りましょう。
The hell? The timid tone, you mumbled her words, a faint blush on her cheeks.
放課後、中庭で待ってます。もし気が向いたら、来てください。あ、無理に来なくても全然平気ですから。
What?
失礼します。
Bowed elegantly, then darted off towards the third-year classrooms. She disappeared into the building. Then I pinched my cheek. It really wasn't a dream or a delusion. I couldn't focus on my classes all day after that. Or rather, I didn't bother trying to focus. I just rested my head in my hand, staring sluggishly into the autumn sky outside the window. My teachers, my classmates, none of them ever paid any attention to me. But Yua did. Yua was different from the other shitbags at the school. I couldn't stop thinking about her. I couldn't stop having delusions about her. And, before I knew it, the classes were over for the day.
Yo, Taku. 今日もデートか？
デート。
この前のメガネのことはうまくいってるんだろうな。
メガネ、glasses。
おいおい、ニートだからって躊躇してんなよ。向こうがお前のこと気に入ってくれてんなら、付き合うか付き合わないかはともかく、やっちまうのが礼儀。
そんなことしないよ。
おい、なんだよいきなり大声出して。
ユアとはそんなことしない。
は？お前まだ言ってんの？なんで最初から諦めるんだよ。そろそろ引きこもりから卒業しようぜ。
僕は きこもりじゃない。
What? I'm here like 2 days a week. I wasn't even what this was about. There was no point in trying to explain to Misumi-kun a guy who only thought with the wrong head. Ignoring how puzzled Misumi-kun was, working my way out of the classroom. Shortest path from here to the courtyard is through the skyway to the third-year building and then down the stairs, I think. I didn't come to school often enough to have a good grasp on the layout, even know where half the club rooms were. I was a little bit anxious as I walked down the hallway to the next building. I walked and noticed a girl standing alone in the middle of the hall, staring up at the sky. Her face looked stiff. Despite her looking out of the window, it wasn't in a wistful kind of way. It was obviously in everyone's way, but she didn't seem to care in the slightest. Now you can hear me walking towards you. Move along, will you? A bit of a hurry here. Getting a real Dokyun vibes from her. Anything to do with it. I had to keep my distance and slip by girl B without getting noticed.
Oi.
What? Oh shit, was she talking to me? Fuck, was she gonna threaten me and take all my money? Take me to the Dokyun hangout spot and have me lynched? Just because it didn't like my face? Or worse? Give me a fucking break. What have I ever done to deserve this? I looked towards girl B. She was staring at me.
お前、誰だ?
The hell? She asked me that? I'm Nishijo Takumi. This is the first time I've ever spoken to her, so obviously she would know that. I was right. Whatever she wants from me, it can't be good.
すいません。
Goodbye. I quickly bowed to avoid looking girl B in the face and ran as fast as I could. So what's your name? Take off. I trembled and thawed down the stairs, not the door. Shot a look behind me at the third-year building. It seemed like that scary girl hadn't come after me. Safe. To be completely honest, I was getting tired of all this bullshit. I never went to the third dimension. I was running into another goddamn trap. Seconds to catch my breath, then looked for the courtyard. The courtyard was between the school building and the pool. So narrow it was more like a path in an actual garden. There were a few evenly spaced flower beds spread throughout the courtyard. Across the courtyard, the violet-colored flowers were especially eye-catching. What kind of flowers were those, I wondered, but didn't really have a clue. Standing in front of the flower beds was none other than Yua. She stood still, gazing at the flowers listlessly. It's like she'd promised. She really waited for me here. Waited for me, and me alone. Yua hadn't betrayed me. Maybe I could trust her. Maybe she really was the savior I'd been looking for. Yua looked up at me and noticed me standing there. And a moment later, her eyes widened. I got shy and looked away, frozen in place. Should I walk toward her? I didn't know. How was she surprised? Maybe I shouldn't have come. As I was lost in thought, Yua ran over to me.
びっくりしました。
え？
西条くんが本当に来てくれるなんて。どうせ来てもらえないって諦めかけてたんです。でも、待っててよかった。
I got held up by a woman who asked my name to run for a couple hours. I was taken aback. Yua was thinking the same way as me. We both had the same pessimistic mindset. There was one clear place we differed. Whenever I had negative thoughts, I'd freeze up and do nothing, but whenever you had negative thoughts, she'd take action anyway. Seriously respected her initiative. I wanted to be like that too.
一緒に、帰ってくれますか?
Timidly asked me, and I nodded in response. Walking side by side, the two of us passed through the school gate. It was a little embarrassing. It felt like other students were staring daggers at me, green with envy. The more aware of that I became, the more anxious I got. I guess I was right. I really can't walk home alone with a girl. Who's that guy? Crossed paths with a teacher I'd never seen before. At least I assumed he was a teacher since he was wearing a suit instead of a school uniform. He was a little young to be a teacher? Well, hell, I never came to school, so it only made sense that I wouldn't know what half the teachers looked like. Listeners even forgot what my homeroom teacher looked like. The teacher in the suit was looking around restlessly as he headed for the school building.
どうしました?
Not knowing how to react, I quickly shook my head, returned to Yua's side, and went back to walking with her. Said we'd walk home together, but my base was only 10 minutes from school. Meanwhile, Yua had to go all the way to Shinsen Station, so I needed to accompany her before I could go home. By force of habit, I led Yua into Shoto Park. The park was something of a shortcut on my route to school, saving me about a minute each way.
西条くんって朝よくこの公園でパンを食べてませんか?
あ、うん。
Did you know that?
やっぱり よく見かけたんです。でも、いる時といない時があって、今日、ようやくその謎が解けました。学校にたまにしか来ないからだったんですね。
Conversationalist. Thanks, Russell War.
別に、それがダメって言ってるわけじゃなくてですね。素朴な疑問だったので。
Okay, I'm gonna guess.
うん。
Goes, You would suddenly stop, turn around towards the bench. I was eating breakfast on. Nobody was sitting there at the moment.
なんだか、ここに座っているあなたの背中は、すごく、辛そうに見えて。
Damn it. Who bent forward slightly, gently stroking the back of the bench.
何度も見かけるうちに、だんだん気になってきて。
Damn it. He's not replying. Bench was right in front of the fence by the pond. Whenever you sat on it, you could stare at the pond without needing to worry about whether others might be looking at you. Right by the watermill, too, making it even more inconspicuous. See, another huge plus.
ここ最近は、姿を見かけなかった日は、心配で
Thanks,
ご
second
飯
base.
の喉を通らなかったりしてたんです。
Really? Never noticed her looking at me when I was here.
バカみたいですよね。一度も話したこともない人の心配してるなんて。でも、話しかける勇気もなかったので。
Actual stalking was an extension of that. Maybe not stalking per se. Maybe she's been looking out for me.
ちょっと、座ってみてもいいですか？西条くんがどんな景色を見ていたのか、私も、
Kishiki.
その、
Scenery.
知りたいから。
I have much reason to refuse. Out of my head, still facing out towards the lake. Bella placed her bag on top of the bench and quietly took a seat, then straightened her posture and gazed out at the lake. So incredibly quiet, so incredibly serene, and Yu was sitting right by my side. Gentle breeze drew ripples on the water and softly swayed Yua's hair. That's what it felt like to be a normie? The situation was so ordinary, so casual, so why did I feel like I was about to cry?
ここで朝食をとるのって、気持ちよさそうですよね。
With the sight of Yua's face as she whispered that. Life were in Eroge is where she'd confessed her love, then we'd lean in and kiss, and then good end credits would roll. Who knows, if the situation called for it, maybe we'd get straight into some exhibitionism. Just kidding.
私も、今度やってみようかな。
Yua turned to look up at me. Unable to find the words to say, I looked down at Yua's bag. Facing my inability to maintain eye contact with the girl, I stared instead at the 3 Garo froggy straps hanging from her bag. Finally, he said something. Uh-oh. I like those or not like those. Hold on. Wait a minute, what's happening? Something about this scene was really nagging at me. What the hell is going on? I can't... That thing was... Girl Froggies, characters that were popular with high school girls. I'd seen those exact ones before, hadn't I? Where, though? My sister has one. Why does it say purge over there? What the hell? Oh, that's right. Nanami had one. What's going on? Rid of the mouse cursor for some reason? It's like Batman Born Intense, as I was thinking of. Okay, how the hell to get rid of that thing? Purge is not part of the game. And we did say that girl froggies were super popular with high school girls. So really it should come as no surprise that you had some too. Yep, nothing out of the ordinary here, not even slightly. Sometimes having such a big imagination really sucked. How terrifying my delusions could be, it got so much worse. Haha.
西条くん？
How do I get rid of that thing? Here or something? He was looking at me, tilting her head in confusion, not knowing how to reply, just forced a smile.
と、それ、本当に流行ってるんだなって。ゲロカエルン。
See if I can get rid of this thing. Why is it on there? This is big picture mode or something? Okay. Right. Huh? What kind of reaction was that? Why had her expression turned so stiff? Had I said something wrong? Lena was mentioning the Ghetto Froggies as a conversation starter, nothing else. Then why? What? Had her smile, that gentle smile she had this entire time, suddenly vanished. Why did she hang her head as she didn't even want to look at me? Tell what kind of expression she was making anymore. It gave me a terrible feeling I just couldn't shake. First I had those 3 Ghetto Froggies hanging out from her bag, hit by a massive sense of deja vu. Came back, I guess my instincts were right. I had seen those 3 Ghetto Froggies somewhere before. Now that I mentioned them, Yu was freaking out. Suspicion slowly crept through my head until it completely took over my mind. I wanted to trust you, but I didn't know if I could. Wait a minute, were they also the 3 Ghetto Froggies that murder scene?
ゲロカエル、西条くんも、知ってるんですね。
Voice lacked even the least bit of composure.
本当に大人気ですよね。私もあんまり可愛いとは思わなかったりするんですけど、何人かの友達からもらっちゃって、気がついたら3つになってまして。
The more U.S. spun her tail, the more artificial it felt. She wasn't looking at me, she didn't even try to. Her smile was gone. And until that very moment, she'd been so gentle, so sweet. I started to feel dead inside. Please don't say any more, I begged inside my head.
見せてあげましょうか。
What? Yo reached out her bag, trying to take the Ghetto Froggy straps off of it.
ちょっと待ってくださいね。
Hands were trembling, she frantically tried to pull them off her bag, but they just wouldn't budge.
変だな。どうして外れないんでしょう。絡まっちゃってるのかな。
The hell? All her stuff. What is all that? Newspaper clippings. It's a bad sign. We pulled on the straps a bit too hard, causing the bag to fall off the bench. The bag was unzipped, so all of our notebooks and textbooks spilled onto the ground.
私ったら何をやってるんでしょう。
A few minutes ago, I even thought of you as ditziness as moe. Present moment, I just was frozen in place, and that was because the fallen notebooks had flipped open, tons of notes and newspaper snippets were scattered across the ground. Like it was some sort of scrapbook. And all the notes, all the newspaper snippets, everything was focused on a certain string of cases. Oh no, not the new gen cases. His name was written there clear as day. New gen? Oh, this game.
なんて。
My voice came out ragged. You in a panic started frantically gathering everything up and shoving it back into her bag. When she did, she held the bag close to her chest and stood up. She looked towards me and nodded, her expression intensely uncomfortable. The smile from before was nowhere to be found.
それは。
We didn't answer. Why would you talk to me? Please just say something, anything. And still she said nothing, which meant I must have realized that she'd been caught red-handed. I wanted to trust her so badly. She'd been starting to think that maybe you was actually on my side, that she could be an ally.
誰も信じちゃダメ。誰の言葉にも耳を傾けちゃダメ。
It's one of my anime figures talking to me. In the end, Seira was right. Seira-tan. 3D girls were the worst pieces of shit imaginable, every last one of them. Yua never liked me at all. She only wanted to get close because she had ulterior motives. Maybe she wanted to turn me into the police. Maybe she wanted to blackmail me. God damn it. God fucking damn it. I'd almost forgotten all about that incident. Here we go again. Lisa never questioned me, so I thought that maybe, just maybe, I could go on pretending that nothing had to do with me. All I wanted to do was get away from those stupid murderers, so why? The hell was Yua really after here? I didn't even care anymore. I just wanted to run as far away as I could so I could wait to turn around. But I quickly grabbed my wrist. Uh-oh.
逃げるの？
Oh shit. The voice sent chills down my spine. The tone was so cold it felt like my body would freeze over. I didn't feel like she was the same person. It wasn't the Yua I thought I knew. Her grip. Grip was way tighter than I'd expected. It wasn't normal. Bolts of pain ran through my arm. My bones felt like they were being crushed. I tried to shake her off me, but she wouldn't let go. In fact, she was pulling me towards her, practically pinning my arm behind my back.
逃げるの？
Oh. Behind me, right behind my ear, I heard a whisper that crushed any emotion I had left. A shiver, I slowly turned around. She's mad. Staring at me, there were no longer color behind those eyes.
逃がさないよ。
Oh.
騙してたことは謝るけど、お互い様だし。
What?
あなただって隠してたことあるよね。
Uh-oh. Hiding things? A single thing crossed my mind. Somehow she knew that I had witnessed that stalking murder. That I had seen the perpetrator. That was the most likely why she tried to get close to me. No, she was good. Too good. She had me wrapped around her little finger. Everything she told me was a lie. Taking interest in me from just one glance. Liking Blood Tune, her arranging to go with me to pick up Sarah post-awakening version figure from the store when it went on sale. All her nice little comments as you listened to what I'd had to say, or wanting to get to know me better, or being worried about me when I didn't come to school, or saying that she respected me. Everything that came from her mouth had been a lie. That thought killed me inside. I was overwrought with grief. I tightly clenched my fists. Fuck. What? I believed a single fucking thing she'd said.
本当はもっと時間をかけて調べたかったんだけど、バレちゃったからしょうがないよね。あなたに聞いてもらいたい話があるの。聞いてくれるよね。聞かないなんて言わないよね。あなたは聞くべき。
What?
聞いて。聞くでしょ。
I just keep saying something over and over again.
聞かないなら。
What? What'll happen if I don't listen? I felt like a completely different person. The gentle and carefree atmosphere from before was gone. Completely unapproachable now. The atmosphere felt bizarre, like one molded from utter obsession. Her tone was as composed as could be, but perhaps cold as ice was a better description. The usual femininity disappeared without a trace. I didn't want to listen. I tried to cover my ears. I couldn't. You was holding onto one of my arms. It was weaker than a second ago, but she still didn't let go. I couldn't move my hand. When we were in that deadlock, she took a dark gray, shiny object from her bag and held it out to me. No, not the cross. What? He knows. Petrified. My heart skipped a beat. Any composure I had left was gone. I was so shocked the hand that was going to cover my ear just fell to my side. Before long, Yua's voice, I sounded almost regretful, reached my ears.
この十字架に見覚えあるよね。
Of course, I'd definitely seen it before. Wasn't sure what it had was at first, but I quickly realized it might have looked like a cross, but in fact was a stake, and stakes with such unique shapes were not something you'd see every day. Or at the very least, I'd only come across them once. What's up, Pseudo? Yeah, now you is mad. I like tried to run away or something. Now she knows about. She had one of the crosses though. That night scattered across the alleyway. That night as the demon girl nailed them into the wall. And as a corpse was being nailed onto the wall.
やっぱり知ってるのね。知ってるんでしょ？知ってるに決まってる。知らないなんて言わせない。知ってなくちゃおかしい。知ってるよね。知ってるよね。
Oh, I like that. Frantically shook my head in denial. Disgusting cold sweat broke up my brow. Lucky was wiping away as I kept shaking my head as hard as I could.
これ、あなたの部屋にあったのよ。
What? No.
あなたの部屋。
Not no hair. Your room.
ベッドの下。
I touched the bed under.
床に落ちてた。落ちてたの。落としたよね。それとも捨てた？とにかく落ちてた。落ちてたの。
How was this girl? I don't know. I think Seira-chan is my friend. She's not. Yua's not my friend. Where the fuck did she search my room? Was that the day when we first met? My leg got injured and she'd come all the way to my room with me? She'd seen my Seira figures and her face lit up like all cute like a fucking Christmas tree?
この杭、外国製のすごく珍しい杭なのよ。
Yeah, I collect them. I mean, no, I don't. I've never seen it before in my life.
それと、ニュージェネ第3の事件で使われた杭と同じ。
Oh shit.
同じなの。同じよね。同じなのは間違いない。同じよ。遺体を壁に貼り付けにした杭と同じ。
How did she speak so weird? I was convinced. Someone thought that I was the culprit behind the new gen. Oh, some kind of insane cutthroat murder. You think she was a detective or something? Did she call herself Tsunoki Yua, ace high school detective or some shit? Fucking kill yourself. Actually, that shit may have worked in anime or video games. This was real life, and little did she know her reasoning had a fatal flaw. I knew who the real killer was. I'd seen her with my own two eyes. And the demon myself. I didn't know her name. She'd been wearing this Suime uniform. I meant she was someone I could know.
だから
I suddenly hung her head and let out a small sigh. She loosened her grip on my wrist even more, and finally let go.
それ以上でもそれ以下でもないです。ただ、あなたが知ってるかどうかを確かめたかっただけ。本当はまだ言うつもりじゃなかったですし。
Yet? What the fuck has she been by yet?
それじゃあ、もう一つ確認させてください。あなたには予知能力がありますか？
Do I have recognition? Do I have magic powers? See into the future. Foresight.
Huh?
Huh? Excuse me? I'll just stand with my mouth open. Cognitive powers? What the fuck? What that have to do with the incidents? I took my head to the side, utterly perplexed. I did. Yua's hand retreated into her bag once more, taking out a picture printed in full color.
予知能力があるって思わなきゃ納得できないような画像データをあなたが持っていたから。
The picture was that grotesque one Shogun had sent me. Why did Yua have it?
これ
あなたはどうしてニュージェネ第3の事件の再現画像を持っているんですか？しかもこの画像が流出したのは事件の前日です。あなたの使った PC にキャッシュが残ってました。
Damn it. I searched my PC.
違う
Got that image earlier that day when I chatted with Shogun. I hadn't made it myself. Downloaded it so it's still been in my history. That's it. I'll just show you that. So how had you even got this image in the first place? It should have been in my computer's cache. How would she have known that? When you had come into my room, you definitely hadn't had the time to snoop around my PC.
まさか
I'm not sure if you could say you had like that.
将軍か
You Shogun? Oh no. She trying to frame me? All set up by Yua. She was the new gen killer, now she was going to use me as a scapegoat in order to throw off the police, wasn't she?
助けて
It was all too much. Why'd it have to be me of all people? Because I was a freak? Was it because I had no friends? We didn't say a word. Just shook her head lightly.
その画像はアットカフェルーム37の PC から拾ったんです。
No. Got it from my internet cafe room.
あなたの PC もできれば調べたかったんですけど、その機会はさすがにありませんでした。
137, that was when I was used. This bitch really did her research. You looked at me with a slightly apologetic look. Almost like she turned back into the you I knew only for a moment. While that happened, she started fishing around in her bag once more. By this time, she took out a page with a text on it, held it out to me. Bad feeling about this. Alarm bells going off in my head telling me not to look. There's no way I could ignore it, because if I did, I'd surely end up being framed.
それがあなたのすべてです。
What? What was that supposed to mean? I mean, she had all my personal information too? Was you some sort of hacker? I reached out and grabbed the printout. All the while, my heart was pounding in my chest, but I was surprised the page didn't have my personal information. It was just some chat log. Who members of the chat log were Nightheart and Shogun. No! There's the images.
そのログ変ですよね。
What's so strange about it? Looked like a perfectly normal chat log to me. I remember having this conversation with Shogun.
ナイト・ハルトと将軍の
What? What's wrong with him?
発言時間が全然噛み合ってないんです。
One guy's on Monday, one guy's on Sunday.
あ、
Huh? What the hell? How is this possible?
そこにあるナイト・ハルトは西条君。発言時間は9月
Wait, is
28
this
日
about
の
time
午前
travel?
3時
That was just... Steins Gate guys really like time travel.
そして翌日、あなたはアットカフェに行ってます。西条君がアットカフェに行くのは学校帰りと決まってる。そして学校に行くのは週に 2.5 回。あなたのクラスメイトから聞いたんですけど、先週あなたが学校に来た日は月曜日、水曜日、木曜日。
木曜日。火曜日。So it's Friday. 日曜日、Sunday、土曜日、Saturday。
先週の月曜日は9月29日。将軍の発言時間と同じ日です。
Well, log of this. What? What? What are you talking about?
ルーム37の PC のチャットログを調べさせてもらいました。そこから分かったことは、
Just a moment you hesitated. Then she stared straight at me before breaking the cold, unfeeling truth to me.
あなた一人の自作自演。
What? Log again. You inspected the chat logs, you looked at their IP addresses? Don't look at me. Wait, what?
将軍は
What's going on here? Open out.
あなた自身。
I'm Shogun. Gotta be two guys in the same chat. What happened?
何も見たくない。何も聞きたくない。
This is how this game started. What's going on here?
時間は一定じゃない。記憶には矛盾がある。視界にはエラーがある。地球は回ってない。これはきっとゲームなんだ。
Game. On my Groucho Schaff Mindors. Set my mouth with some fish sausage. I turned on my PC.
僕じゃない。
Along my monitor shone brightly with a Seraton wallpaper.
僕がいるべき世界は
Right to ESO and opened up without an ounce of hesitation.
ここじゃないんだ。
Oh, made it chapter 2. Room, quick, get on if you're going to the field trip. All aboard. Face on the floor, and Nishijo Takumi had a colored pencil in his hand. The one he was currently using was yellow, having switched from a red one only a few minutes ago. He joyously ran the pencil across the spread out sketchbook, which he was nearly lying on top of. He loved drawing pictures. He would always doodle on the edges of his notes during every lesson at school. Morning news had been left running in the background, but since news and the like was boring to a fourth grader like Takumi, he had not paid any mind. Vroom, get your candy here, only 300 yen. He was on a yellow bus and pretending he was the driver. All ashore that's going ashore, we're heading out, vroom. Imagine the scene in his head. He made it actually happen in the picture. Times where he would get too excited and accidentally draw on the tatami beneath him were not exactly infrequent. Nami, who would always read manga beside him, would scold him each time he did it. She had some nerve considering she was the little sister, usually saying things along the lines of, "Oh, come on, don't get the floor all dirty." Even so, Takumi never became any less immersed in his art. However, when he got to the point of drawing the people in the window, his hand suddenly stopped. Ripped up the sketchbook and threw it away. Takumi had suddenly been told by his parents that he couldn't go. Though it had been something he had been looking forward to for a very long time, much so that he had been in a constant state of excitement for the entire day, waiting when the next to arrive as soon as possible. That cruel declaration from his parents was something Takumi absolutely could not accept. He kicked and screamed, saying he would definitely go no matter what. No use. Parents would not listen no matter what he said, choosing only to repeat the same words again and again. "We just can't. We're doing this for you, Takumi." Takumi sank into his bed. He trembled with so much frustration he was very close to ripping his futon to shreds. He resented his parents from the bottom of his heart. Takumi, that field trip had been a big, big event that could not have come soon enough. Everyone else in his class could go, but he alone was not allowed to. From this perspective, that was beyond unreasonable. He was in a lonely world. Everyone else was in a super fun world. To him, it felt like he alone had been completely cut off from it. Not forgive the teacher, his classmates, anyone. They all left him behind. And he especially could not forgive his parents for their sudden, unfair decision. His feelings transformed into pure hatred towards his parents and towards all of his classmates. Takumi bit his lip hard enough to draw blood, but curses at them over and over. Anyone should be allowed to go. Wait, what? Saying that, me? Following morning arrived. The phone had been ringing over and over again since dawn. Each time his mother would pick up the phone, she seemed to be very shaken while talking. Takumi not even get a wink of sleep. Clock past 9 a.m. In usual well-behaved manner, Nami was sitting on a floor cushion, reading manga. She had told Takumi the day before, "I'm gonna take a break from school to keep you company, okay?" As if she thought it was the obvious thing for her to do. Father had already gone to work. He was not around. Her mother was very busy with phone calls and yet to prepare breakfast. No need for him to go to school that day. Fallen as he was, Takumi opened his sketchbook and began drawing to distract himself. His feelings of rage refused to subside, so he tore up the sketchbook in frustration. He did that, however.
あれこのバス。
Nami sounded puzzled. Takumi had thought she was talking about his picture, but her gaze was actually aimed at the TV.
ねえ、お母さん。
Nami called out loudly to her mother, who was still busy with the phone calls. Not listening, Takumi followed his sister's gaze and stared vacantly at the TV screen. And displayed a scene of a collapsed elevated highway. A section that was about only 50 meters long had fallen. Incredibly, a bus driving along there at the time had been caught up in the collapse, hopping onto its side beneath the overpass. The very same bus Takumi should have been on. Bus his classmates were riding on. Uh-oh. The kid in that Twilight Zone episode. Just a single glance, Takumi could imagine exactly what had happened. Classmates were on the screen. One child was sobbing, another had blood all across their forehead. Another was lying atop a stretcher being carried into an ambulance. The reporter was announcing the state of the accident with a grave look on their face, but Takumi did not really understand what they were talking about.
タクちゃん大変よ
Mother was standing at the entrance to the room, holding a cordless phone. Her face was pale.
遠足のバスが高速道路で事故に遭っちゃったんだって
Jiko was accident.
それ、今テレビでやってる。
それで斉藤先生が
Teacher's dead. For some reason, Takumi was already sure of this. Everything happening on TV was eerily similar to what he had pictured in his head the night before when he had been overwhelmed by frustration and hatred. Only one feeling occupied the depths of his mind, a peculiar conviction, one where he was sure that he had precognitive abilities. Wait a minute. Why did he pretend like he didn't have them when that girl asked him about him? Long ago, a show on TV that examined people who claimed to have ESP had been etched into Takumi's mind. A person with precognitive abilities had appeared on the show, shocking the world by demonstrating frightening ESP in the experiment. It had been verified whether or not the psychic could guess which of 12 items are placed in which numbered box. This by placing the subject in a different room, then proceeding to have them predict which cards with the item's name on them belong to which box. Afterwards, staff members in the other room would place the actual items into boxes and verify how many the psychic foretold. The person on the show received an incredible 90% correct, causing an uproar among the entertainers. As this happened, Takumi tested if he could predict things the same way the psychic on TV could, only to get every single one correct. Of course, he did not tell anyone about this. As he gazed up at the TV, he believed the accident was yet another instance of his precognitive predictions being exactly right.
クラスの半数以上の子が怪我したらしくて
Half the class was injured.
なんてこと
Mother tried hugging him as he lay down, but Takumi avoided her grasp, crawled to the corner of the room.
でも本当によかったわ
Eyes swam about as she whispered in a hollow voice.
今日タクちゃんを休ませておいて本当によかった
Takumi Takumi felt sick. They were useless, he thought to himself. His abilities had not made a single difference. Just thinking about it made his heart turn to ice in an instant. That Takumi stopped speaking to others for a while. He literally went mute, not say a single word to another soul. Parents were worried about him, and their already overprotective habits escalated even further. For them to be acting more and more ridiculous, Takumi thus decided to play the role of a mute boy. Thought of it as a revenge against them. Due to his complete lack of talking, his mother took him to be seen in the psychiatry ward of the general hospital. There he was diagnosed with PTSD. Takumi did not actually have PTSD or anything of the sort. Never once took his medicine, he merely pretended to. Medicine? Parents never realized he was acting, and in the end, he didn't even feel a hint of pity. They worried themselves sick over him. Big flashback. Thing feels like a lie. The world was filled with falsities. It was overflowing with malice. It was out there to get me.
いつもあなたが使っているチャットルームへログインして、自分で調べてみてください。私の言っていることが間違っていないってわかるはずです。それと、私が言ったことは、全部本心です。これだけは信じて。
Bombarded me with her nonsensical theories. You had said that one last thing before she left. No way I could believe her. What the hell was I supposed to believe someone that had been lying to me this entire time? I was to believe that everything there was me, like you had said. Everything she said about me being Shogun was a total joke. I wanted to believe that. When I checked the timestamps in the chat log, there was no mistaking that the conversation wasn't matching up.
僕は無遊病なの。
Sleepwalking? Problem was, during the time Shogun appeared to be posting in chat, I hadn't been sleeping at all. If I recalled correctly, I had indeed been at a cafe at the time, but I hadn't slept. I couldn't have been sleepwalking. In that case, I wondered why I didn't have any memories of posting as Shogun. My body had been under someone else's control, which would mean... That's ridiculous. But the best way to calm myself down was to escape from reality into the fictional world of ESO. ESO, everything was fake, a lie. At the end of the day, it was a world just a part of a video game. But in Base Lard, become the godlike existent known as Nightheart. Fabrication like that, a lie like that, was something I'd readily accept. I wanted to stay there. Nobody would mind if I did, would they? Maybe. Well, the ESO was actually the real world. My own reality was the fake one, just a game. In that case, Nishijo Takumi would be a fictional character, and Nightheart would be my true form.
ねえ。ナイトハルト。
Called out to the paladin standing inside the monitor. Controlling you, or are you controlling me? Which is it? You be real, or am I a mere avatar? The world I was in was just a game in itself, and if that were true, that would solve the mystery I was struggling with. If just like how I was staring at Nightheart within my monitor, but if someone was staring at me in the exact same way. Whose eyes are those eyes? That would make them the player controlling me. If I did have someone controlling me, would kill them to do less of a shit job. I guess an avatar can't really complain. Also explain how Shogun and I could be the same person, validating that theory. Think of it. It's kind of like what Lissalot was. Nightheart and Lissalot couldn't possibly exist in Base Art at the same time. I was the only one playing them after all. I was the only one playing as them after all. Maybe Shogun and Nishijo Takumi were similar. They also couldn't exist in the world at the same time. Also possible that it was a bug. Speaking of bugs, encountering that bizarre girl in a murder case, as well as a whole bunch of other stuff that had happened, could have been bugs too. The image Shogun had sent me flashed through my mind. I gripped my head with my hands, eventually shook it away. I wanted to run away from everything. Maybe, just maybe, there was a player controlling me. Please reset me already. Let's remake my character and start from scratch, please. Oh. The waiting room of the university hospital was filled to the brim with middle-aged people waiting to be examined. The view hadn't changed from a few years prior. It made me feel as if time itself had stopped there. Moreover, everyone there looked miserable, and the smell of disinfectant pervaded the stagnant air. The kind of place that sucked all the life out of you and made you wish the sweet embrace of death in 5 minutes tops. Didn't like hospitals. In the lobbies had countless people, yet the corridors beyond were completely devoid of them. It always freaked me out ever since I was a little kid. It felt like the corridors themselves absorbed and stewed into the stench of death. It felt like that was what a hospital truly represented beyond its outer facade. I thought there was some horrifying creature was lying in wait deep within the corridors. That was why I really didn't want to go there. It was something I had to make sure of no matter what. I found myself reluctantly waiting for my turn in line for an examination. When I tried to fully immerse myself in ESO, the bombshell that Yu had dropped on me continued to swirl around and around inside my head. I haven't been able to concentrate for even a second. As a result, my mind had been torturing me with all the various possibilities all the way until morning. I began genuinely scared that something was wrong with me. That was why I went to the hospital. An official stamp of approval from a medical professional that said, Nishijo Takomi is completely normal. And proved that it wasn't me who was abnormal, but Yua. He was used to come to the hospital psych ward, and yet when the girl at the reception asked, "Is this your first time?" And I don't know, thinking, is that grill for girls? Was he calling it like that? Girl, yeah, alright. I have a thing for that. Since that bus accident, my mother had regularly taken me for checkups. During middle school, my physician said that I'd completely recovered. I stopped going after that. It was my first time coming back in about 4.5 years. First physician had been some senile professor who was supposed to have some authority in the field. I've only seen him a few times, and after that, someone else had taken over, a student or of his or something. Seems like a major. Negative or positive, I don't know here. Though despite calling himself that other guy's student, he hadn't been particularly young. To be honest, he looked pretty old. Or I was reminded of something that Dr. Takashina had said.
ここは病気や怪我だけじゃなくて心にも効く病院なんだよ。
Oh. Thank you. Hated hospitals, but that doctor had been very nice. Wait a minute, this is good. Well, even then I had still thoroughly fooled all the adults to the very end. That is, except Dr. Takashina. He'd seen through it all and was the one that declared me completely recovered.
あの人に調べてもらえれば。
I wonder what he'd say if he learned that I'd become an otaku freak. I don't know he'd remember me after all this time. Long for me to be called into the examination room and expect to be waiting there for quite a while. Uh-oh, things are all weird. I guess I was wrong. There have been so many people in the lobby then. Maybe they're being paid to sit there just to make it look busy. Whoa. Different examination room than the one from 4 years ago, but when I stopped and stepped inside, I was welcomed with a face I remembered dearly.
いやー、西條くん。
Takashina rose to his feet with a familiar smile, then reached his hand up to me. Realizing he was searching for a handshake, I hurriedly reciprocated.
また君に会えて嬉しいよ。いや、嬉しいというのは変かな。君にしてみれば、またここに来るというのは辛いことなわけだからね。
Why am I tripping out? This is like one of my delusions. He's not moving as much as the other times. It had been 4 years since we'd last seen each other. He was incredibly friendly. A slight nervousness that I've been struggling with was eased in seconds.
それで、今日はどうしたんだい?
Gesture for me to sit down, so I did. I cleared all the tension melting away. I told him everything about what had happened to me. What might happen to me in the future. I stumbled over my words many times, probably because he wasn't used to talking so much, but Dr. Takashina didn't rush me. He listened to me intently with a serious look on his face, while offering occasional interjections to make sure I knew he was following. Of course, I told him everything about Yua and the demon girl. I considered that doing so might be dangerous, but right now he was the only person I could rely on.
結論から先に言おうか。
What? Hearing everything I'd say, Dr. Takashina pondered for a moment and began to speak.
君は正常だよ。何の問題もない。
本当ですか。
そうですか？本当に？
もちろん。
That's what I always wanted to hear. Back myself to the hospital for the whole purpose of hearing him. Why am I tripping out, though? I'm scared that he told me there was something wrong with me. I had no idea what I would have done if I had. If he had. Being checked out by Dr. Takashina had been the right choice after all.
むしろおかしいのはその楠木さんという女性だ
Oh
ね。
no, it's exactly what I wanted to hear. I knew I was tripping out.
西条くんの話だけで判断するのは難しいが、おそらくその女性は精神的な障害を患っているだろう。
She's crazy.
今後君に危険を及ぼすような行動に出る可能性がある。
She's trying to kill you.
すぐに警察に通報しよう。
Let's talk to the Keisatsu. Please. Sure, that's probably the safest option. He's right. There'd be something wrong with Yua. She was batshit insane. Thought of her stalking me again sent shivers down my spine.
もちろん僕も責任を持って君を保護するつもりだ。
What? Looking at me with a powerful, reassuring gaze, Dr. Takashina clapped his hand on my shoulder encouragingly. Even handed me his business card, complete with his phone number.
何か問題が起きたらいつでも連絡をくれて構わないよ。24時間いつでも
What?
君のところに飛んでいくから
What
ね。
doctor is this?
いいんですか？
当たり前だよ。僕は君の主治医なんだから。
It's on the verge of tears. I'm truly grateful to be under his care from the bottom of my heart. Doctors as good as him were hard to find nowadays.
悪魔女のことについても通報した方が良さそうだね。
I'm gonna call her Akupoi from now on.
西条くん、君の見たその女がニュージェネの真犯人で間違いないよ。
She's the true serial
これは
killer.
ものすごい目撃証言だ。
Uh-oh. Dr. Takashina seemed somewhat excited. But you couldn't tell from his tone, as always he spoke calmly.
事件は西条くんのおかげで解決だ。君は渋谷のヒーローだよ。
Yay.
僕はこの瞬間に立ち会えて実に光栄に思う。
Hmm. Is he a hero? So is an ESO? There's no way someone like me could be a hero. No way in hell. He's role-playing music, though. And I imagined it, my face just about broke into a grin. Middle school girls, high school girls, college girls, MILFs, all would be screaming my name and how much they love me. Be renowned all over the world as one of the most charismatic people to ever live. The TV celebrity sounded cool and all, but I didn't want to appear in front of people, so I'd create a startup company instead. And I'd become a hugely charismatic boss making the big bucks. Surrounded by a harem of beautiful secretaries, serve my every need, of course. I'd trip all their flags and make them crazy over me. I'd have a high-rise apartment in Roppongi, like Roppongi Vice. I'd have a bunch of cute maids. Like my own personal maid cafe. Of course, I'd be indulging in endlessly passionate nightly services. Just kidding.
まさに勝ち組。
Gone crazy. No, it was all fake. Sitting here. Replicating my senses only to find myself sitting on a sofa in the lobby. Able to grasp what exactly was going on, I frantically looked around the room. Beside me was a hunched over old lady, her eyes covered in wrinkles, so I couldn't tell whether she was asleep or awake. I took a look at the clock above the reception desk, and I saw that I'd been waiting in the lobby for a full hour. Had it been just a dream? I hadn't slept last night, so I dozed off while watching. How glorious it would be if that dream was actually real. Talk about disappointing. And I found myself waiting for another 2 hours before my name was finally called. Entered the examination room. It almost felt like the same events I'd seen in that dream were happening again. Dr. Takashina almost even appeared almost exactly as he had in the dream. And it was probably just something he'd barely changed since the last time 4 years since I last saw him 4 years ago. This time he didn't rise from his seat, nor did he offer to shake my hand.
今日はどうしました？
Unlike the dream, he didn't seem especially happy to see me again.
西条です。
ん？ああ、これはご丁寧に。高階です。はじめまして。
He bowed his head cheerfully. I was lost for words. Pleasure to meet you. That's what he just said. Completely forgotten me. Shouldn't be surprised. It's been 4 years after all. I truly believe that Dr. Takashina of all people would remember me. I mean, that was arrogant, but I hope for it all the same. My heart was overwhelmed with loneliness and emptiness when those expectations were smashed to pieces. Like my very existence was being denied. Dr. Takashina started talking to me while making eye contact. I averted my eyes.
無遊病かどうか調べてほしいと書いてあるが、何かあったのかな？
Right, I'd written that on the questionnaire, but it was all meaningless now. He didn't remember me at all.
別にいいじゃん。
What?
先生が覚えてようが覚えてなかろうが関係ないっしょ。最初の目的を忘れちゃダメ。
What mission? Come back. All right. And came here to meet Dr. Takashina. Came here to prove that I was a completely healthy and sane human being. Our union was a mere bonus. He's a shit if he'd forgotten me. Sayada-tan hadn't stepped in and given me that advice. I've become dangerously close to losing sight of myself. Phew.
自分でも知らないうちに外に出かけててパソコンで文章打っててそれを全く覚えてないなんてありえますか？
おお。
知り合いからそう指摘されて混乱しちゃって。
その知り合いの人が冗談を言っているっていう可能性はあると思うかい？
Has been serious. Looked like she was messing with me. At the very least, I had no doubt that you would believe what she said.
わかりません。
なるほど。ちなみに、その知り合いとはどういう関係だろう？恋人？
は？
Where the hell did that come from? What did it have to do with anything? Is I missing something here?
いや、言い方が悪かったかな。じゃあ言い直そう。その知り合いの人は、君が意識もないまま歩き回っているのを実際に目撃したのかな？
Oh, so that was what he meant. I shook my head.
じゃあ、証拠はないわけだ。
Again, shook my head.
そいつ探偵気取りっていろいろ証拠を突きつけてきて。
うん、そういうことか。ちなみに、これまでにも無遊病の兆候はあったかい？
いえ。
朝目覚めたらいつものベッドじゃなくて違う場所で寝てたっていうことは過去に一度でもあった？
いえ。
じゃあその知り合いに言われたのが初めてっていうことだね。
Nodding weakly, I steeled myself and spoke.
僕、寝てないんです。
もしかして怖いのかな？でもそんなに深刻になる必要はないよ。
いや、その。
Thought that's what I meant. Couldn't figure out how to explain it. It's too late to say it out loud anymore. I was too flustered. Scribbling something on a medical form, Dr. Takashina swiveled away from me in his chair and leaned forward towards the back of the examination room.
葉月くん、ちょっと。
Hazuki.
はい。
There's Hazuki. The young nurse rushed over to him, and Dr. Takashina showed her the form. He did so. He whispered for her to do something, and she quickly withdrew to the back of the room. What had that been about? The doctor turned back towards my puzzled self. Then a gentle voice began to explain to me how sleepwalking worked. When a person falls asleep, they first begin non-REM sleep, or eventually progress into REM sleep. Non-REM sleep is a deeper sleep where the brain hibernates and brain activity ceases. Meanwhile, REM sleep is a kind of sleep where the body is resting, but the brain is active in a state that's fairly close to being awake.
無遊病はノンレム睡眠の時に起きやすいって言われてる。脳が通常の活動をしていないから普通の受け答えとかは成立しにくいけど、ちゃんと返事もするし、階段などを踏み外さずに上り下りすることだってできる。原因としては精神的なストレスを抱えてる時になりやすいんだ。子供に多い症状だけど、成人でもよくある症状なんだよ。これでわかっただろ？深刻になることはないって言った意味が。
はあ。
But I hadn't been sleeping. Even though I hadn't been sleeping, I still done things I don't remember. I'm Shogun had been posting from room 37 in the chat room should have been while I was busy playing ESO. Sleepwalking really be possible there? I wanted to ask him that. He's already moving to a different topic.
無遊病かどうかを調べる方法としてはいくつかある。一番手っ取り早いのは ここのベッドで寝てもらうことだね。ただ、特定条件じゃないと発生しない場合もあるかもしれない。例えば、自分のベッドじゃないとダメとか。意識がない状態で出歩くにしても、目的もなくふらふらと歩き続けるのか。それとも、何らかの脅迫観念があって、それに影響されて何らかの一連の目的を持って出歩いているのか。それに、君の精神状態についても、特定の条件下じゃないとダメかもしれない。自宅のベッドの上ならリラックスできるけど、ここじゃリラックスのしようがないわけだ。
That's weird. I ran into people who were sleepwalking before. They did always have some goal they were trying to accomplish. Didn't make any sense. Or they couldn't even really explain their goal usually.
どうする？とりあえず寝ていってみるかい？
Had nothing to lose, so I didn't see a reason not to try. Then after I proved I wasn't sleepwalking, I could try asking the real question I had in mind. Am I the killer? Nurse from before, Hazuki-san or something, guided me over to the hospital bed located in the back of the room. This isn't a bed meant for sleeping, it was firm and uncomfortable. Again, considering the sofa I usually slept on, that shouldn't pose any problems for me.
3時間くらいしたら起こしに来ますから。
This is pretty damn cute. I lied on the bed, I took a quick peek at her face while being careful to avoid eye contact. Babyface made her look kind of unreliable. She even had an almost despondent aura about her, but she was doing her job pretty well. Felt like a heroine right out of a classic eroge, with kinky hospital sex.
できるだけ目は離さないようにしていますので、安心して眠ってくださいね。
What's up, Spidey? You're working too. Basically, if symptoms of sleepwalking occurred, like I started wandering around on my own, she'd make sure I didn't get hurt or anything.
それでは、ごゆっくり。
Giving a slight smile, the nurse closed the curtain and left the hospital room. Last time by a pure white curtain, I took a deep breath. I hope for 2D only. Around me, I could hear the voices of doctors examining patients, the sound of nurses running around, and the sound of the door, the examination room opening and closing. I doubt I'd be able to get relaxed here. Could I actually fall asleep like this? I had nothing to lose. I closed my eyes. No matter what I did, my mind refused to think of anything other than the corpse that had been massacred and crucified with stakes, as well as the gory pictures Shogun had sent me. Forcibly conjured Seiratan into my head. What? Negative or positive?
タッキー、外出嫌いなのに病院来るなんてすごい。
Oh, I did that thing again. Let me fix that. Putting purge up on the side. Let me of it now. No. Full screen or something? Can't get rid of it. Where's it coming from? Oh, there it went away.
私前から思ってたんだけどさ、タッキーって実はすごく強い男の子だよね。
You want positive? This is negative. Would not be talking to the doll? Sayada animatedly moved about in my delusion. Her cute voice chirped for me.
私、そんなタッキーの強さが好き。それに、タッキーは無遊病なんかじゃないよ。私、毎日タッキーのこと見てるもん。だからわかるさ。三次元女になんか騙されちゃダメだぞ。タッキーには、私がいるっしょ。
Alright, I got it. Gotta go negative on this. Weird. Damn doll's talking to us.
またあのコンテナハウスで二人きりで過ごそうね。ボケなす。
Seiratan, you're so cute, Seiratan. Really was my ideal waifu. Wasn't a single woman better than her. 3D, the fuck was that? Ugh, I want to go home already. I want to go home and have Seira-tan welcome me back with a smile. Wait for me, okay, Seira-tan? I'll be coming home soon. Negative mean I'm pissed that I'm not home. I don't know what that means. Oh, no, I'm tripping. She opened the door to the examination and was greeted by the doctor's smiling face.
今日はどうしました？
Knowing the questions, she examined her surroundings. The examination room was not particularly large. Up the doctor's desk sat one blank medical chart, and another was filled with out in a language that was not Japanese. What? Called her a demon. Everyone did, even her own parents. Had she always been a demon, or did everyone calling her one cause her to become one? For all this time, it didn't matter to her either way. Regardless, she had slaughtered 8 people over the past month or so. Oh, jeez. Society called it madness, casting her actions into the realm of infamy. But from her perspective, they're nothing more than numbers. She was a demon after all.
何か気になりますか？もし気になるものがあるなら言ってください。どかしますから。
He was very sensitive to the needs of his patients. Something befitting of a psychiatrist. Finding the truth heartwarming, she opened up the bag she had brought along. From the back, she slowly took out 24-centimeter long kitchen knife.
それとももっと広い部屋にか。
The doctor cut his off her shoulder upon seeing the knife. His face stiffened. And seeing his terror, she gave a gentle smile. The doctor would be the 9th. He had not been her intended target. She might as well make the most of the opportunity. Placing her bag on the ground, she approached the doctor with long, soundless strides. Then, maintaining her fierce momentum, she flew towards the doctor's chest and plunged the knife deep inside, good things to the delusion. The knife slipped past his ribcage, reaching his heart. That single thrust had spelled the end for the doctor's life. The doctor, now no more than an object to her, collapsed against her body. For a moment she supported his weight, and she could remove the knife, and then, when she was done, she knocked the object away with her elbow. Oh no! Hazuki saw it. The object was lying face up on the floor, its white coat dyed deep crimson. The nurse who ran to investigate the commotion let out a scream. One large step, she trampled over the doctor's corpse and slashed at the nurse with the knife. Fresh blood danced through the air. There was no fatal wound, it lightly itched a rough scar on the docile-looking nurse's face. With a scream, the nurse clutched at her face and crashed to the floor. Oceans of blood spit out from the gap between her fingers. Ignoring this, she continued towards the back of the examination room. Why was her saxophone playing? The 10th would not be the nurse. It was a momentous case of the 10th double digits, so it had to be the target she had originally come for. Everything around her was chaos, and the patients and nurses had long since screamed and ran away. But she did not lend an ear towards their cries. She simply searched for him, someone who was most definitely there. Uh-oh. Her eyes stopped on the curtain. The curtain was partitioned off a section of the room that was between 2 and 3 square meters large, a section that likely contained a bed. There you are. Her heart trembled with jubilation. The sheer thought of killing him made her nether regions grow hot. She slowly closed the gap between her and the curtain. Instead of opening it normally, she slashed it open with the knife. When she peeked through the newly opened gap, he was lying on the bed, just like she expected him to be. I found you. After she had seen him, she couldn't contain herself any longer. She pushed her way through the curtain, and now she stood right by the bed. He was sleeping with a slightly pained expression on his face. She combed her fingers through his hair, stroking ever so gently. He didn't awaken. Gripping the knife with both hands with an underhand grip, she raised her arms high above. The target was simple, his heart. With a single thrust, just like the doctor before you, I'll put you to rest. Overwrought with feelings of pure rapture, with every ounce of strength she had, she swung down the knife. Oh, I'm back. Sprang up, only to find myself in the bed like before. My heart was pounding like crazy. Checked my chest. No wound anywhere, nor was there any blood. I was unharmed. Examined my surroundings. The curtain was closed, and definitely had been slashed open with a kitchen knife. Carefully placed my hand on the curtain. I opened it. I saw the doctor and Hazuki-san collapse on the floor covered in blood. And that delusion appeared in my mind and began to tremble all over again.
夢だよな。
Uh-oh. A dream, right? Couldn't work up the courage to open the curtain. What if there was a sea of blood right past it? What if the demon girl was standing there holding a knife? The terror of those thoughts completely incapacitated me. And right at that moment... You scared me. curtain opened from the outside. I couldn't help but scream and I tumbled off the bed.
大丈夫ですか？
I suddenly looked up at her. Hazuki-san was looking down at me with wide eyes, her white coat, no trace of blood. Didn't have any stab wounds either.
ごめんなさい。驚かせてしまって。起きているとは思わなかったので。
いえ。
God, I was pathetic. My head still hanging down, I sluggishly rose to my feet. My heart was beating out of my chest and it just wouldn't stop, but thank God I'd been just a dream. It was like watching a horror movie.
本当に大丈夫？
Hazuki-san peered at my face, her worry evident. I felt so embarrassed, I couldn't look up at her. Just nodding was the best I could do.
少しうなされていたみたいでしたけど。
怖い夢を見て。
そう。
What time was it? How long had I slept for? I asked Hazuki-san the very question. Surprisingly enough, I'd slept for a full 3 hours. I guess I'd been more exhausted than I thought.
でも、無遊病の症状は結局出ませんでしたよ。
Hazuki-san's reassuring voice conveyed that to me.
まあ、今日はたまたま症状が出なかっただけかもしれないから、無遊病でないっていう断定はできないですけど。
No, I really don't think I'm a sleepwalker, so... More importantly, I had to ask the doctor the really important question. Couldn't see him anywhere. I looked around, Hazuki-san handed me a blank form. Not really focusing all that hard, I took it from her and ran my eyes over it. As I filled in the blank style form.
それは、あなたの心理状態を把握するためのチェックシートです。心理テストのようなものね。それを書いてくれたら今日はもう帰っていいって先生が。
先生は？
ごめんなさい。ずっと診察が続いてて。来週まで様子を見て、まだ改善が見られないようならもう一度来てくださいって。
Again, it wasn't like he was my primary physician or anything, I suppose. Probably just gave Hazuki-san a bunch of directions to get me out of here. Well, because I meant there had been pretty much no point in me coming to the hospital today. I really wanted to ask Dr. Takashina about the someone that wasn't me controlling me. Whatever it meant, it was really chilling symptoms. I didn't want to leave without getting an answer. That being said, I didn't have the courage to demand Hazuki-san bring him back to me. Bring him back to see me, especially when she already looked so apologetic. Reluctantly, I decided to give the test a try. I said write about my symptoms on the back of the sheet or something. If I did that, I should be able to get another examination scheduled for next week.
チェックシートは質問に対してイエスかノーかだけを答える簡単なものですから。当てはまる点があったらイエスにチェックしてくださいね。今後の西條さんの治療に対する参考にしますから、じっくり考えて答えてください。
Hazuki-san went out of her way to explain the procedure thoroughly. Tested some strange questions mixed in, ones you wouldn't normally expect to run into at a hospital. It really did seem like some sort of personality test. Really be able to actually learn something from questions like these? Sana stared at me intently. She showed no signs of leaving. It wasn't like she had nothing else to do or anything. Like she was monitoring, watching over me or something. Nervousness at being watched made it hard for me to think clearly. I guess she was just doing her job. Either way, I knew I had to fill out the test quickly. Oh no! Am I doing this? What the hell? What? Oh, there's a lot of questions. You masturbate only using your imagination? Okay, what is going on here? What crazy test is this? Emails or phone. Does this mean yes? Okay. Here's ring. It's on gaze and turned around before. I'll just put the station move for instance. Okay, what is this? Premonition. Digital clock. You've seen the numbers appear the same. What? I don't know what that means. Already cried once this month. Masturbate only using your imagination. When masturbating, you can visualize uninterrupted imagery. What? You can daydream without closing your eyes. Frontal view of a car. It sometimes looks like a face. Okay, what is going on? Every time I'm going to the bathroom after watching a horror movie. And handle haunted houses. Start reading a book, you become so immersed that you lose track of time. Move other planets, and you like, ugh. Astrological sign match your personality perfectly. You're prone to motion sickness. You believe there's a god. Long ability to sense supernatural. What? You dreamed in color before. There we go. Been a dream which you knew you were dreaming. Alright, there we go. Experienced memory loss. Major memory loss? You have a hard time making eye contact with people. There we go. Experience memory. I don't know about that one. It's too vague. Maybe the sight of your sour food makes your mouth fill with saliva. Like you don't know what other people do. There we go.
はい、お疲れ様でした。
What did this do? It's the second time they answer my personality things on this in this game. The other part earlier or whatever, where I was talking, I had to answer what my guy was saying. Seemed like what kind of porn I liked or something. This is a very odd game. I'm pretty embarrassed at being watched the whole time. My face is probably bright red. Because then I avoided looking at Hazuki-san when I handed her the test. There had been no time to write my symptoms on the back.
それでは、待合室でお待ちください。
What are you gonna do?
お薬が出てますから。
I have medication? For what?
薬
Kusuri. Describe me something? She never said anything about that.
ええ、先生の指示で。
What?
弱い精神安定剤です。ぐっすり眠れるようになるし、副作用などもありませんよ。
Oh, thoughtful as ever, Dr. Takashina. Yet when I realized I would have to wait in the lobby again, my mood was immediately sent spiraling. By the time I got back to Shibuya, it was already evening. The hospital was technically in Shibuya Ward, but since Yoyogi was the closest station to it, meeting via train was the fastest. The Yamanote line had been crowded as ever. Despite only being 2 steps long, the trip back still made me incredibly tired. Riding the train any further would have been a pain in the ass. I decided to get off at Shibuya Station and make my way back to the base from there. Even then, there were still tons of people outside the station. Spies crowds made my head spin. I wanted to stay much longer. I tried to speed walk out of the scramble crossing. And walking straight was nigh impossible. One that even slightly caused people from both behind and in front to bump into me. What's more, a bunch of people had handing out pocket tissue packs, blocked the way, practically forcing everyone to pass by to take them. Fed up with everything, I ignored the first person handing them out, but I took some off second because at least she was a cute grill. I was so sick and tired of these people handing out tissue packs and shit to push their products. Do they have anything better to do than stand right in the middle of the road? Well, whatever, it's free, so I might as well take it. Inside the tissue pack I took was a red flyer. There was a paragraph's worth of shit written on top of it. White ink. Heck, what ostentatious, like holy shit. Couldn't exactly miss something with that color scheme. I walked along and gave it a quick skim. It was a blood donation flyer. As I read it, I thought back to the form I'd fill out in the hospital. Uh-oh. Didn't have any memory of filling out something like that 4 years ago. Maybe the way they examined patients had changed recently. Even then, though, something felt oddly familiar about the test. Deja vu, been getting hit by it all the time recently. With my mind and body not functioning the way I wanted them to, the sense of dissonance was an incredibly uncomfortable feeling. So in order to ascertain the true cause behind the deja vu, I tried flipping back through the pages of my memories. Uh-oh. Gonna trip out again? I back to when Mom had taken me to the hospital about once a week. Got my mouth shut at all times and only expressed myself via nodding or shaking my head. First, I'd been taken to a perfectly ordinary examination room, but since I showed no signs of improvement, so I go into a different room before long. The room had been essentially a counseling room, meant to put the patient's relaxation first and foremost. In other words, there were sofas and plushies and whatnot located all throughout the room. Dr. Takashina had taken a very patient approach to treating me, all while refusing to blame my situation on anyone. He alone caught on to how I was merely choosing not to speak, rather than having the inability to do so. Meanwhile, my mom would always talk to me in an unnaturally cheery voice. Every time I had gone to the hospital, the doctor would always welcome me with a refreshing smile. The nurses also treated me with all the love and care they could. And I had a feeling that there had always been one more person in the room. But right, there'd been a man in the black suit, one that felt fairly out of place in the hospital. What the hell's that guy? I've been doing my best not to speak. I never asked about him. I didn't know who the hell he was the entire time he was there. He didn't feel like a doctor, and he always stood all alone with a fair distance away from everyone else, all while gazing out the window. I dubbed him Mr. Nozomi in my head. It wasn't his actual name or anything.
Nozomi.
Man in the suit and always had a badge on his chest, no matter the situation. That badge was the word Nozomi. Looked like the logo to me, though, so it probably wasn't a name tag. Oh, I knew what was bothering me now. The test from before also had the Nozomi logo printed on it. Hunch, that's where I'd seen it somewhere before. Now I finally remembered exactly where. Like a huge weight had been lifted off my chest. That aside, what was Nozomi anyway? Pretty sure it was the name of a business.
のぞみさんっていう美人女社長が設立したカウンターテロ組織とか、漫画みたいだ。
G.I. Joe. Alright, back home my shipping container. I had arrived at my base. I'd gone straight to look up Nozomi online. However, there were so many results I couldn't manage to pin down anything specific. Well, let's go with a more normal theory first. That Nozomi guy could have been from the company that made the test. He was just at the hospital in order to sell them or something. The hospital then adopted the test recently and they decided to have me fill one out today. Nah, I doubted that. Never heard of some rando attending a patient's examination like that. I'd never heard of that. Who the hell was that Mr. Nozomi guy? Memories kept pulling up my mind, but I was fed up with it at that point. Either way, the reason behind my deja vu was now clear. I decided that I'd ask Dr. Takashina about my memory issues next week. But until then, I was going to stay cooped up in my room without bothering with school. There's no way in hell I'd go out to school where people were trying to hurt me. Now, honestly, I really don't want to screw up with the minimum attendance chart, so I carefully constructed, but it wasn't worth getting myself killed over. I gave up my Nozomi search and went look for any interesting looking threads on @channel. Almost completely filled with new gen threads. Oh shit. Group dive. The man-child. The crucifixion. That's going to be number 4. ESO boarded threads like, let's try and replicate new gen crimes in ESO. And to be honest, I'll be on sick and tired of the whole thing. Back at ESO, I found Grim. @channel news board. Super fucking boring recently. They really won't shut the fuck up about new gen. That's the biggest thing to note recently. Whenever something like this happens, we always freak the fuck out about it. Shitstorm incarnate. Haven't caught the culprit? I mean, you and I both know the police are completely incompetent. There are tons of idiots all over the web, painting the culprit as some hot moe chick. A demon girl. Desolate eyes of the girl I'd seen at the crucifixion murder scene flashed through my mind, with a shiver run down my spine. Much as I didn't want to remember that ghastly memory would come back any time I let my guard down. Wait, I seen the culprit's face. I knew who they were. Should I report it to the police? I don't want to get involved. Demon girl? Sort of offshoot of the perp like that? That might be taken a bit too far. These new gen cases are seriously interesting, dude. I joined the Free Para new gen community. Getting way too into this. Everyone but you and Sisen from our guild has joined. Oh god, was he serious? Now I won't be able to hop on and chat with my guild anymore. New gen is some weird shit, man. Gives me the chills. You're into gory stuff, Grim, but don't tell me you're the type with the looks for artistic merit in murder cases. True, the crucifixion corpse could have easily been mistaken for modern art, so it'd be fair to say that it was artistic in some sense. Nah, I think you're looking for is how lewd it is. The ultimate form of BDSM. This guy's hopeless. I better do something quick. You get it once you leave behind your virginhood, Neidhart Tan. Lily bastard, are you saying you're not a virgin? You damn traitor. Ors. Back on topic, though. They want to look, I was scared too. The site pulling all the info together is filled to the brim. I wanted to escape the reality in which I'd witnessed the scene of this crime. That's why I've been intently avoiding all info related to New Gen ever since then. I wanted to fool myself into believing that the gruesome scene I'd seen had been just a delusion, but basically a god in ESO. Not just someone strong, but someone who knew all. Not to mention I was the guild leader. It'd be beyond embarrassing if the organizer of the group couldn't keep up with the latest topics. I had to make sure that didn't happen. Click the link to the site Grim had sent me. Top of the site had the title All Things New Gen written in big letters, right at the center of the page. This website was basically like a wiki. It was open to the public, and anyone could enter info related to a particular topic. In case of this New Gen site, loads of people entered info concerning New Gen. So I was updated as they did. Sites I get tended to suffer from unreliable info being mixed in, as well as its fair share of vandalism from trolls. It can still be pretty useful for getting a quick overview of the incident. Many links were pasted all over the page. I promptly clicked on the link that read, Current Timeline. My heart raced. Just reading the site was making me nervous. My palms were slick with sweat. First incident, dubbed the group dive, was the suicide of 5 high schoolers that jumped to their deaths. It happened in the dead of night on September 7th, which was about a month ago at this point. The building they jumped off was Cornelius Tower, which is located in Shibuya. They dove off the rooftop helipad. Of course, all 5 died instantly. According to the autopsies, the 5 had 4 pieces of flesh under their fingernails, along with various scratch marks on their hands. Based on that, it was surmised that the 5 had been holding hands as they jumped, for one reason or another. No suicide note of any form on the rooftop. Person online, one of those people acting like Snake, and got to Cornelius Tower themselves and reported that the door to the roof had a sign on it saying no entry to authorized personnel, and it was locked 24/7. Who's Snake? Would Snake? Oh, it is Solid Snake. Tag is from a certain video game. Naturally, the door had been locked at the time of the incident. He was not found along the belongings of the deceased. Essentially, the rooftop helipad had been effectively a locked room. The method the 5 used to enter was completely unknown. Very high chance that someone other than the 5 had been present at the scene of the incident. The second incident, dubbed the man-child murder case, had occurred 12 days after the first incident, placing it on September 19th. Early in the morning, a university student on their way home from a karaoke session discovered a collapsed man covered in blood by the Shibuya Station underpass. The victim was a university student residing in Shibuya Ward, a 21-year-old named Konoe Chizuo. He was already dead, but when he was discovered, but his abdomen had an unnatural, very large swelling. According to the autopsy, someone had performed an abdominal incision on the man and stuffed a newly born fetus inside the man's stomach, and then stitched it back up. Moreover, a DNA test confirmed that the fetus had no blood relation to the victim. The victim was a bachelor and had no relations with any women. Only online speculation was assumed that the 32-week-old fetus had been removed from its mother's body via C-section. However, the mother's identity, current whereabouts, and even whether or not she was alive was completely unknown. It's possible that the police had already discovered her whereabouts, but if they had, nothing had been publicly revealed. Averted my eyes from the monitor to keep myself from throwing up. Jesus Christ, talk about nauseating. The culprit was completely insane. Maybe, just maybe, these ghastly murderers... been carried out by that girl. And is over. What? Stared at Seira-tan in an attempt to bleach my eyes. With that, I somehow managed to stabilize my mental state. I considered taking the meds the doctor gave me, but Seira-tan did the job nonetheless. Anyway, while that might have been necessary to maintain Neidhart's honor, you know that gory stuff really fucking sucked.
そんなに辛いならさ、読まなくていいって。タッキーがド M ってんなら別に止めないけど、辛そうなタッキーは見てられないさ。もうやめよう。楽しいことだけしてようよ。
Seira-tan's nice.
いつもみたく私にハーハーしてもいいからさ。
You could just fap to me like you always do, silly. Oh, how wonderful and caring you are, Seira-tan. Seira-tan was the only one who would stay by my side and ask for a better waifu. So my chin on my hands above the table, watching Seira-tan smile and take deep breaths. Ah, my soul had been healed. I'd be able to get through a little more if I kept glancing at her as I read. So I decided to put that into practice right away. Think of it. Why had those 2 unrelated cases been slapped with the New-Gen label? Apparently, the group drive had been initially treated as a group suicide. After the man-child incident occurred, people online reinvestigated it and discovered the unnatural circumstances surrounding the scene of the crime. Rumors then began to appear saying that the 5 may have actually been killed. Suicide label was merely a cover-up. According to the parents and good friends of the 5 victims, there was no way it could have been suicide. Then the mass media started making connections between the 2 incidents, starting with where they occurred, Shibuya. Madness explodes in today's youth, new generation madness. Sensationalist headlines like that started popping up everywhere. My understanding, anyway. Then came the 3rd case, the murder case I witnessed dubbed the crucifixion, because I didn't have as much info on this case, likely due to having only occurred recently. Victim 56-year-old Ota Hisashi was a university professor who had been crucified with stakes to the concrete wall of a vacant house. All that had been publicly revealed. Many of the neighboring residents had claimed that for over an hour after the time the crime had been thought to have occurred, around 8 p.m., you hear the sound of nails being hammered into something. I heard the sound. I could hear it even now. Horrible, terrifying sound. Related note, no connection between the 3rd case and the group dive or the man-child had been discovered yet. being in the third abnormal incident happened in a quick succession in Shibuya, crucifixion was naturally treated as another new-gen incident. Police and mass media believe that all the crimes had different culprits. Dominant opinion online, or rather, what they hoped was going on, was that the crimes had shared either a single culprit or an organized group of culprits. Also was many occult-based theories whispered about online, such as that everything had begun with the earthquake from 2 months ago. What? 2 months ago, an earthquake with a seismic intensity of 3 occurred. That's not very much. Shibuya is its epicenter. Although the scale is fairly minor, there were still 8 fatalities. Wait, what? A magnitude 3 earthquake? Became a topic of discussion. When to think of it, it was true that the new-gen cases had begun after that earthquake. Because of that, the new-gen occultists argued that the 8 deaths in the earthquake should be counted as the first new-gen incident, causing a dispute between them and the new-gen mainstreamers. No! Regardless, the situation was abnormal. After all, despite the fact that the 3 brutal cases occurred in quick succession and no clues about any of the culprits have been found. Many online were waiting eagerly to find a 4th case, or for a 4th case. To be continued. I wasn't directly connected at all. I would probably join in on the chaos myself. Posted a few threads, made a few theories. I could have been waiting excitedly for the 4th incident at this very moment. Damn it. These assholes were just having the time of their lives, weren't they?
犯人を早く捕まえてくれよ。
He had passed since the crucifixion, but neither the demon girl nor the police had made any moves. Knew I had been at the scene of the crime. Definitely come question me about it. Hadn't been any signs of that actually happening. Thank God. Look, I wasn't going to get dragged into this after all.
あなたには予知能力がありますか？
What did she know? Name you had thrust at me flashed into my mind.
予知能力があるって思わなきゃ納得できないような画像データをあなたが持っていたから。
Finally started to relax. That feeling of despair came flying right back in an instant. Image sent by Shogun. The data was still on my PC. His claims were no more than delusions she dreamt up. Productions were a total stretch, not to mention logically bankrupt. Might have ended up not asking about it in the hospital today. The idea of me doing things without remembering them was completely absurd, utterly impossible. Nothing like that had ever happened to me before. The gory image was obviously faked.
だったらさ、合成だって証拠を見つけちゃえばいいさ。
Into the doll again.
あの画像解析しちゃおうよ。
What? So disgusting. I don't want to look at the picture anymore than I already have.
あの女を論破しちゃえば、タッキーはもう怯えることなく平穏な生活に戻れるんだよ。やるしかないっしょ。
Right? Of course, she was exactly right. You had talked to me as if I were the culprit behind the crucifixion, but that wasn't true at all. I mean, I'd seen the culprit's face. I let you put the blame on me after that. Oh, I double-clicked on the folder where the images were cached. I keep saying it the wrong way. I said it the old way. At the end of the chapter? Uh-oh. A whole other person now. What happened? First time in 3 days, Ban Yasuji had set foot in the Shibuya police conference room. Wait a minute, is this like a police guy? Investigation meeting for the Maru Yamacho staking homicide case had already begun, and Ban was greeted with universal gazes of displeasure for his tardiness. Ban forced a polite smile before bending down to sit. He supposed that it was not quite the right time to reveal that he'd been cooped up in the bathroom with diarrhea. What is happening? The Maru Yamacho staking homicide case had been assigned to the Shibuya police station on the morning after the incident. They were lacking in manpower due to the Cornelius Tower mass suicide and the Shibuya Station undergrad and fetus homicide case. Even the third assistant Inspector Bond, who the Metropolitan Police Department's Investigation Division were practically begging to retire, had been called in by the main office. Moreover, as all the incidents that occurred within Shibuya Police Station's jurisdiction, an unusual situation in which such a single jurisdictional station was utilizing 3 special investigation teams. Boy, who wrote this? Because of this, operations were made quite difficult. 3 investigation teams having access to only 1 large conference room that they had to alternate between. Mass media was hailing it all as one large case known as New Gen. And the rumors that the police would combine the 3 investigation teams in order to make a New Gen investigation division, thus solve the issue of manpower. All three detectives found this prospect completely asinine, regarding it as nothing more than an absolute joke.
警部補、君の報告
Now
を
were the cops? Bond Superior Inspector Matsunaga was in charge of the investigation team. But he called out to Bond with a piercing gaze. Bond did not notice this. He simply continued to cool himself down with a handheld fan as he took a moment to recuperate.
警部補、バン警部補、聞いているのか？
呼ばれてるっすよ。バンさんの報告待ちなんすから。ちょっと。
That teacher guy from before? Whispers of Bond's partner, a rookie named Suwa, finally got him to realize he was being called.
すんません。報告は諏訪から。
自分っすか？
俺がいなくても報告しとけって言っといたろうが。早くしろ。
Suicide as a superior jabbed him in the elbow, then stood up straight and tall.
犯行現場近くの監視カメラの解析がようやく出たっす。出ました。犯行時間に不審な人物が
Oh
映っ
god,
て
they're
ま
on
し
to
た。
me. Wait, is that the girl? Or is it me? Or not me, but I... So, what's that guy's name again? Murmurs echoed throughout the conference room. The relaxed atmosphere from before turned on its head. The detectives began to take frantic notes in order to not miss a single word of Sua's report. Why does the sound keep going out? Right? Considering the situation, it was no surprise they were so frantic about it. After all, 3 horrific cases had occurred within their jurisdiction in the span of a single month, only one of which was not ruled as a homicide. Only one of which was not ruled as a homicide as of yet. Their strong determination to find the culprit, even in the face of their reputations, was only natural.
プロジェクターに映像を出します。
Per the instructions Bond had given to him in advance, Sue had the projector display the footage on the projector screen. The projector showed an image of the confined, filthy back alley of Maruyamacho. It was night. There were very few streetlights present, so virtually nothing was visible.
犯行現場から約50メートル離れたところにあるコインパーキングの監視カメラです。
The parking lot was only big enough to fit 2 vehicles. Only a tiny plot of land interposed between 2 buildings. It was constructed without any real care as well. The scene of the crime was not visible in the footage. Not even the path leading to it could be seen. All displayed was a road that was one further away from the crime scene. The video had no sound. The time the video had been recorded was graciously displayed on the bottom right-hand corner of the screen, 9:34 p.m.
犯行現場近隣の住民の証言により、21時過ぎから21時半頃まで釘を打ちつける音がしていたというのはご承知の通りだと思いますが、この映像は21時34分。つまりまさに犯行時間直後ということになります。
It was far away.
不審人物が映っているのは21時34分53秒からおよそ6秒間です。駐車場の前の道を奥から手前へと走り抜けていきます。
Not gonna be me, is it? No! Media following Sue's explanation as silhouette appeared on the footage. He seemed to be in a great hurry and ran from the back of the screen to the front. His resolution was quite poor. Not even their gender could be ascertained at a glance. Bond had already gotten the crime laboratory to analyze that very point.
科捜研で解析した結果、映っている人物は男。年齢は10代後半から20代とのことっす。です。
Was in early 20s. What?
人相の判別までは無理でした。服装がかなり特徴的ですが、これは小島にある私立水明学園の男子制服と分かりました。それと右手に注目してもらいたいんですが、
large on the right hand of the suspicious individual. He'd be grasping something. No, he's got the cross.
スローで再生するとわかるが、 走りながら腕を振っている際、この握りしめている何かが駐車場の照明に反射して光を放ってるんだな、これが。
Now the good part, Bond took over Sua's explanation.
形状からして犯行に使われた十字架型の杭である可能性がある。
Murmur. It's taking on, the culprit may be a high schooler. Rob's decision was fairly shocking to them. After all, it meant that the new generation madness moniker that the mass media had been pushing could actually become a reality.
最も犯人に近い人物がこの少年だということか。
そういうことになりますね。
Bond stroked the stubble on his jaw. It was a habit of his whenever he felt one step closer to cornering a culprit. He always reached for that satisfying scraping sensation.
以上です。
Great exhale, Sua sat down.
ひどいっすよ、先輩。美味しいところ持ってって。
And Sua's grumbling. Bond once again burned the image of the high school boy into his mind.
ようやく尻尾を出したんだ。そいつを掴んで離さねえようにしないとな。
Uh-oh. Good. This. Weird hybrid between Windows and Linux. Sure enough, the image Shogun had sent in my cache folder, 168491.jpg was its name. Obviously, part of me was still hesitant to even look at it. I mean, it was a pretty fucking nasty image. Grotesque as all hell, too. Sure, just looking at it would throw me right back to the scene of the crucifixion. The violent scene had taken place right in front of me. Even then, I needed to expose you as flawed logic, and therefore guarantee my own safety and innocence. Thankfully, since Seidaton was there for me, I had a little bit of gore. Muttering all the courage I had, I double-clicked the file. Good. See extra evidence here. God, it was so gory, but compared to the crucifixion scene I'd seen in person, it wasn't quite as bad. I told myself that the image had to be fake. I was just barely able to stomach it. First received the image, I closed it immediately after looking at it once, and inspected it thoroughly. This time holding back the urge to vomit, I had examined the image in excruciating detail. Well, not much about how to tell whether a picture was fake or not. Taking a look at the shadows, sensing if there was anything off about the surrounding area, just like that should probably prove to be enough. The only possibility I had in my mind was that the photo had been taken in advance and the crucifixion corpse had been put on top of it using CGI. And then the day after Shogun sent me the picture to me, they executed the crime exactly as they edited it in the image. Thanks to the poor resolution and how dark the image was, I could only really see the stakes, leaving the identity of the victim unclear. Light was only hitting the area surrounding the corpse, yet something about the image was just begging for me to look at the crucifixion itself. Felt like that was the intent of the person who'd made it. I mean, come on, focusing that much light around the corpse was kind of overkill, don't you think? Well, it wasn't like I'd been paying close attention to the actual crime scene, so I couldn't really jump to conclusions. The picture of the demon girl wasn't standing in front of the crucified corpse. But when I opened my eyes wide and looked even closer, I noticed a silhouette in a dark spot on the left side of the image. I almost completely missed it. Where is it? Bottom there? Due to the low res of the image, the shadow of the figure stood and blended perfectly into the surrounding scenery. Easily missed if you weren't paying close attention. Obviously the image was fake, but what if that person who had taken the photo had accidentally left themselves in it? If they had, it was possible that they had forgotten to edit themselves out when they tampered with the image. It looked like they were wearing a Suime uniform. In that case, oh no. Had to be the demon girl. They'd been wearing one at the time of the crime, after all. When I took a closer look, I noticed that the figure's hair was actually pretty short. The demon girl had long hair, like Yua. Alright then, time for some computer magic. I need the details here. Enhance! 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 When I was image processing software and drag the image in. Enhance! Oh, the big let's look at the levels option. Oh, here we go. Actually, getting more realistic. Levels option, the adjustment menu. Use Photoshop and brighten the once darkened corners of the image. No! Kind of a lot. Me? What the hell? Nanda kore? On the screen. On the screen was unmistakably me. How was it me? Didn't make any sense. Never even been there before September 29th. It was fake. It all had to be fake. I couldn't find any bit of proof it was, but it absolutely had to be. It made sense otherwise. I mean, Shogun had sent the image on the 28th. Crucifixion happened on the 29th. The image was what happened on the 29th, and that would mean it was a picture taken from the future.
あなたには予知能力がありますか？
Cognitive powers?
うるさい、そんなはずはないんだ!
Kicked the plastic bottle at my feet and closed the paint program. Checked the file's properties to see when it was made, and then lost all words. Time set was the 28th, and that was least of my worries now. Comment section of the properties menu was a single conspicuous sentence. Sentence my eyes couldn't look away from. The same thing! No! Whose eyes are those eyes? Ah! Found my hands on the keyboard before shoving it to the edge of my desk and clutched my head.
Sarah, 助けて!
Sarah, we need you. I barely hold back my tears. What the hell had I done to deserve a whole week of nothing but more and more and more insane bullshit? Was I the only one that had to deal with this shit? Or why was I the only one that had to deal with this shit? Hang on a second. They'd somehow managed to get a photo of me, and then they edited it into the image of the crime scene. It would either mean Shogun had taken a photo of me without my consent, or that he had somehow obtained my photo from another source. Considering how he'd suddenly entered the chat room and started talking to me right after Grimm had left, like he'd been aiming for me and me alone from the very start. Shogun might very well have discovered my real identity. If that was true, then Shogun, the demon girl, anyone could raid my base at any moment, and I'd be abducted. Chill on the nape of my neck. The gaze again. Something there, watching me. Don't look at me. Really think I turn around? I know the rules of the game better than anyone. Take more than that to make me turn around game. I sent goosebumps all over my body, and I felt a strong urge to check that door was locked, but instead of doing that, I continued to stare at my monitor, as I was way too stubborn to let myself lose. Calmed down, I opened up my default word processor and wrote down everything on my mind. Almost all the quiet about you. Shogun's underling, Shogun Demon Girl's underling. 1. Oh, the cognitive powers. Stared fearfully at the word demon. I began to wonder if the girl at the crime scene was actually a real demon. I mean, come on, she couldn't be human by any means. As a demon, she might actually be able to see the future. See the future, projecting a scene from the future onto a picture via psychic photography would be child's play. Line up perfectly with how she'd somehow managed to carry out the gruesome crucifixion on her own. Then gotten her underling Shogun to send the image to me, a person who she knew would end up accidentally witnessing the crime scene. I don't know why she'd done that. Maybe it was a threat. This will be you if you tell anyone what you saw. Maybe. Death sentence. Or next. If that really was what it meant, then...
勝てるわけがない。僕は奴らにいつ殺されてもおかしくないんだ。
Oh. Chapter? Is this Yua? Now I'm Yua? Sunoki Yua faced the PC in her room, her profile gravely serious. She swiftly read through the information displayed on the monitor. Before long, Yua let out a small sigh and released her hand from the mouse, glancing at a piece of paper sitting within the reach of her. That very same paper she had put before Nishijo Takumi the day... Oh, she'd put before Takumi the day before, the printout of the chat log between Neidhart and Shogun.
Nishijo-kun.
Uttered a single name. The view of Takumi sitting alone on that Shoto Park bench appeared in her mind before she quickly shook her head to drown it out. Suddenly, she looked behind herself in surprise.
今、誰かに見られていたような。
Stopped upon a large stuffed ghetto froggy enshrined on her bed. If it had just been imagination, she tilted her head in puzzlement. And she slowly rose to her feet, walked over to her bed, and fell onto it head first. She'd smelled of the sun. It seemed that her mother had kindly dried the futon earlier today. Yua buried her face in that relieving scent, gazed wondering about vacantly. The room was very neat and orderly, placing her meticulous personality on full display. Especially applied to her large bookshelf, which was rather incongruous for a room sized around 13 square meters. It was packed tightly with countless books, leaving hardly any gaps. However, charmingly, the lower half consisted of nothing but complex academic books, computer-related books, other similar material, contrasting greatly with the upper half, which was full of the shoujo manga and anime DVDs. Another sigh, Yua turned her body face up and stared at the ceiling.
DID.
What? Dissociative identity disorder. What? Her? Is my guy. Kumi. From Wiki Pedophilia. What they call Wikipedia. Person has more than one personality. Uttered the name of the mental illness she'd been researching. Explanation related to it was still displayed on the monitor.
辛いんですね。
She hugged the stuffed Garo Froggy by her pillow tightly as she thought about Takumi. Oh no, Takumi's guy with multiple personalities.
でも、私、
However, her expression soon vanished, replaced only by the gritting of her teeth. Alright, so we're getting a lot of other characters here. We got Yo, we have those cops, the other random girl who was took away from school or whoever that was. To breathe. All I was doing was looking things up my PC. It hurt to breathe. I could feel my heart pounding harder than it ever had before. Of course, the feeling that something was watching me would not go away. Most writers have no idea what's work. I know, yeah. I was fair. They had a lot of information there. Of course, feeling that something was watching me would not go away. I was still just barely keeping myself from turning around, but I knew I couldn't do it for much longer. Uh-oh. Cried out angrily at whatever it was. Surely it wasn't the demon girl, right? What if it was? Using second sight or clairvoyance or some of the demonic power to spy on me. Chills on the back of my neck were gradually growing stronger to the point where they were getting slightly painful, like jolts of electricity coursing through my body. Covered from head to toe in sweat. One of my t-shirt was completely soaked. Unable to take it anymore, I whipped around my chair and forcefully as I could. All I saw was my room, the same conditions as always. I didn't see a single thing that shouldn't have been there. As far as the list don't know, really. Yell that was closer to a shriek than anything. I burst up from my chair and make sure the door was locked. Much to my relief it was. I wiped away the sweat from my forehead with my sleeve. Turning to my PC, I focused on the monitor once more. It was still displaying what I had researching earlier, precognition. Yet I truly believe that precognition exists. Psychics existed. If I was being completely honest, I still did to a degree. My first thought had been to the image of Shogun and the demon girl was a cognitive photograph, that which only drove me to look into it even more. Dangan Rampa? Well, what if, maybe, just maybe, there were tons of psychics all over the world I just didn't know. I was a kid. It's maybe the same people who made Dangan Rampa or distributed by the same people. It's not made by the same people. Back when I was a kid, when that bus accident happened, I managed something that had been pretty close to precognition. For that reason, I couldn't completely rule out its existence. No matter how much I searched, all I could find was extremely dubious articles about the occult, voodoo shit, or whatever else. Absolutely nothing that proved scientifically whether it existed or not. Need to learn about magic powers? Fiercely frustrated, I violently tapped away at the keyboard and deal with how anxious not having a concrete answer made me. Old really telling me to give up, to wait here, trembling in fear of demons that might or may not come? Couldn't stay sane like that. course, I would have vastly preferred to learn that precognition didn't exist, but regardless of what the truth was, I needed to know it badly. Pretty much out of options, I decided to take a look at Channel's occult board. It's typically home to nothing but total BS, noise, lies, and misinformation, mainly. But it actually has some pretty mind-blowing, even useful information scattered on it sometimes. Adding back how frantic I was, I opened up @channel, and I clicked on the occult board and gave precognition a search. I did.
Huh?
What? Search pulled up a surprising number of threads, about 30 of them, with recognition a hot topic on @channel at the moment. Go check the thread titles one by one.
Phantasm. FES.
Most of the threads contain those two key words, Phantasm and FES. In addition, new gen discussions also wormed its way in, with lots of unsettling terms like pathetic lyrics and murderer being used. Never heard of Phantasm before I went to Google them. Apparently they were a Shibuya-based 4-piece gothic punk band. They've been doing live concerts, really. And Wheel the movie with a ball that flies around with blades that stick out of it. They were so popular, in fact, they were completely dominating indie music scene with a female vocalist known only as FES. Wait, what? I went to check whether it was related to precognition or not. I clicked on the thread at the top titled Precognition and Prophecies. Phantasm General, New Gen 43. Gave the contents a brief skim. Yes, concept. What was that just came on screen there? Black Mass. I don't see that. FES is Black Mass. We get the crucifixion treatment. Uh-oh. Oh no, they had a precognition about the crucifixion killer too. The composer Rio gets no credit. Yes, tards are total shitters. Be insulted by FES. I mind that chill voice while she grinds her boots into my ass. FES Tan is my waifu. Get to the BDSM thread. I'll see FES is my waifu. Uh-oh. It's a weird thing at the end here. By the way, I say fuck Phantasm. Fans are terrifying. Well, brainwashed. Now you're gonna get it. Those lyrics. And how you interpret them, they could be seen as referring to the group dive. Oh, let's see. Link hand within the wind. Link hand in hand within the wind. Yet those lyrics had been released 2 months ago. I mean, they hadn't been written after the group dive.
これが予知ってこと？
Must be a coincidence? Or could Phantasm be yet another one of the Demon Girl's underlings? Read the thread in more detail, only to find out that each of the 3 New Gen incidents all been prophesized by Phantasm's lyrics. Oh. However, the lyrics for the songs that supposedly prophesize the man-child and crucifixion incidents not been posted on that channel. Apparently uploading them online was viewed as taboo of sorts. Possibly seemed to be, if you really want to know, just go to the concerts and buy an album yourself. Oh. Regardless, there were a great number of people online trying to predict the next New Gen case based on the songs Phantasm had performed thus far. Apparently, ever since New Gen kicked off, Phantasm's albums have been completely selling out. It's great marketing. And it was so successful, in fact, that even the mainstream media had picked up on it. Gothic band boasting cult following rises among the youth of Shibuya. News stories like that were popping up all over the place. The one writing the lyrics was the head singer FES. No one knew her real name. But if FES was actually the demon girl, she was, explain how she managed to prophesize the incidents literal months before they'd occurred. The demon girl was the culprit after all. Tried doing an image search, but I couldn't find any good photos of her face. All the pictures were taken by phones during her concerts, and they were so blurry I couldn't even begin to make out her face. So. My sweat-drenched forehead with the hem of my shirt. I was frustrated. I was so scared, but I couldn't believe anything. I didn't even want to see anything. Several emotions swirled within me, suffocated me. My breathing hadn't even come to close to stabilizing this entire time. Even so, I knew one thing for certain. I needed to see FES's face. With trembling fingers, I typed in Phantasm's name and clicked on the official website. It was mostly black, decorated only by text of a uniform deep crimson color. Unrelenting in its simplicity, and yet also incredibly eerie and strange. There's barely anything on the site at all, just basic information on their concerts and discography. Wasn't even a single image. There's no profiles of the band members nor anything on their song lyrics.
やっぱり犯人だけあってネットに顔写真が流出しないようにしてるのか。
What, thorough? Took a look at their performance schedule and saw that they typically performed about every other week. Next concert was...
あさって。
Went to it, I'd be able to check whether FES was the demon girl or not. But if I did find out whether they were one and the same, what would I even do? Report FES to the police? Cry and beg for her to leave me alone? Bring a crucifix into demonic exorcism? None of those were going to happen. I was up against a demon. There was no way in hell like an otaku freak like me could come out on top. Problem is, if I didn't, I'd die. She transformed my corpse into her newest art piece, and I posted all over the All Things New Gen site as yet another case.
そんなのやだ!
But if I didn't do something, I'd never find out what that picture of me that Shogun had sent really meant. On the off chance that FES wasn't connected to the demon girl, maybe I could ask her to help me fight against whoever the demon girl actually was.
だけど、やっぱり無理だ。ライブなんて行けるわけがない。
What the? Into one of my life, that sort of thing was infinitely beyond my comfort zone. I mentioned concert halls were cramped and dark and noisy and crowded. Just imagining a place like that made me want to hurl. My wit's end, I had no idea what to do. Chills on the back of my neck still hadn't gone away, and the painful prickling sensation suddenly turned into a burning one. Behind me yet again. Like always, nobody was there.
もうやめてよ。
Closed my eyes tightly, focused on nothing other than waiting for the gaze to disappear. I want to go through this torment for the rest of my life, while under the gaze would straight up kill me someday.
考えろ、匠。僕にできることを考えろ。
Do I push the button? There's something happening. Okay. It's the concert? Hiding in the shadows of a telephone pole, I looked at the Gigantes concert hall from afar. Agonizing over it all day yesterday, I'd somehow managed to nut up and did what needed to be done. Here I was, Gigantes, located on a narrow street in Shibuya. Is it Japanese or Spanish? It'd be pronounced differently. Beneath the elevated railroad tracks was a very distinct red brick exterior. The exterior was lit up too, giving off an old-fashioned, austere vibe that made it feel as if it had been transported back in time to the 50s or something. I think a spot like this was in Shibuya of all places. I know it even existed till yesterday. Only 5 minutes from the station on foot. There weren't very many people at all. Every once in a while, a train would pass over the elevated tracks with a tremendous roar, and the telephone pole I was hiding behind trembled slightly, but that was about it. Just a moment ago, there had been a bunch of what appeared to be Phantasm fans in front of Gigantes. Some of them were in outfits so out there, I'd almost mistaken them for cosplayers. However, what surprised me the most was there honestly weren't that many of them. It might be such a huge topic online, there must have been no more than 100 people there. Regardless, they were all inside the building now. The concert had already begun, but since none of the audio managed to bleed outside, it certainly didn't feel like it. I heard palpitations had gone away after I had fallen asleep yesterday, but they'd come back with a vengeance the second I had arrived in front of the venue. It had been so hard to breathe that I almost thought I was dealing with some kind of heart failure. Really, I know exactly why it was so bad. This place was filled with a thick, impenetrable darkness. The demon girl and her underlings could be lurking around any corner. Knowing that, I've been on the lookout for anyone that might attack me ever since I got here. Sheer anxiety and paranoia was comparable to what it felt like going through the Wands Volcano Dungeon in ESO. Mobs in the Wands Volcano Dungeon were OP as hell and was surrounded by the kind of lava that insta-killed you if so much as clipped it with your pinky toe. That shit could have been play-tested. The amount of times I died there, holy hell. I wiped the sweat off my forehead with the hand towel and gulped down a gob of saliva. Right as I did, the door at the top of the stairs opened, and the furious beating of drums reverberated from inside Gigantes for a few seconds. Single exited from the door, he jogged nimbly down the stairs and then towards me. It's you!
Yo, Otaku! Matta?
What are you doing here? I invited him to go with me, Misumi-kun, to go to the venue with me. Since I didn't know his phone number, I'd forced to go to school today just to ask him to go. If he hadn't come with me, I probably wouldn't have even made it this far. Even if I had somehow forced myself to go in the building alone, the demon girl was there, I'd be would be certified game over. And Misumi-kun operated as a scout. I didn't feel bad about throwing him into the line of fire, so I obviously hadn't told him about that part. The only people I could rely on were him and Nanami. I picked the less annoying of the two, Misumi-kun. I even covered his ticket costs, so in a sense, you could say I hired him for 1,000 yen.
ほらよ、これ CD な。俺自分の分も買っちまったよ。
Oh, I got CDs, so I didn't even go inside. Misumi-kun handed me a Phantasm album. They're being sold for an outrageous premium in online auctions. I heard it on that channel. They're also available at their concerts, so I'd asked Misumi-kun to buy one for me. Now that I had one, I'd achieved half the goal. It's not for myself, and for the remaining half.
いやー、予想以上にいいな、ファンタズムって。
Misumi-kun had been acting pretty excited ever since he'd exited the venue.
俺、あんまミーハーになりたくなかったんで聞こうとしなかったんだけどよ。今日ちょっと生で聞いただけでファンになっちまった。
Nothing I'd asked Misumi-kun to do was report anything in particular that stood out about the band members. I knew they would all come out on a stage once the concert started, so all I wanted him to do was a quick scan and then head right back to me after. Yet, despite my very specific instructions, he didn't come back for a full 5 minutes after the show started. This is probably because he listened to the entirety of the first song.
特にボーカル。ありゃマジでいい女だぜ。お前、女見る目あるな。
Sighed internally, thinking with the wrong head like usual. I was even surprised. Much for I'm no sheep.
どんな人だった？
ああ、そっか。報告な。なんか探偵みてえで面白いな。そう思わねえ？
Misumi-kun grinned to himself, and I pressed him again to tell me about FES's appearance.
髪型はショートカットだった。
Oh, she had short hair, so not her then. Eh? Just like that, there already was a huge discrepancy. Does that mean FES wasn't the demon girl? No, wait, I couldn't let myself jump to conclusions here. She could have cut her hair, or she could have used hair extensions. She could have changed it in some other way. It surprised me if she'd been in disguise when I'd seen her at the crime scene.
スタイルがすっげえ良くて、あと背が高かったな。ありゃ俺と同じぐらいはあるんじゃねえの？
背が
Same height as you? Riku and I were about the same height. And FES was probably around 170 centimeters tall. Pretty tall for a girl. I hadn't gotten that impression at all when I'd encountered the demon girl. The memories from back then were a bit hazy, but I still felt like the demon girl had been shorter than me. Nothing that didn't line up then.
他には
そうだな。アンニュイな雰囲気してたな。声はクールってイメージかな。結構ボソボソと喋るタイプだった。胸のサイズはまだ。
胸のサイズは？
でもゴスパンの服は妙な色気があったぜ。ああいうのもありだな。断然あり。
Damn it, every single word he said was completely fucking useless. Again, I'd only gotten a quick look at the demon girl, so I couldn't exactly list her features. I was probably doomed from the start.
っていうかよ、そんなにフェスに興味あるなら自分の目で見ればいいじゃねえか。ほら、行こうぜ。
Timothy began to push me from behind and forced me up the stairs to Gigantes. I desperately tried to fight back, but Misumi-kun was stronger than me. I couldn't get away.
待って。
見たいんだろ、フェスの顔を。素直になるって。浮気ってのは男の差がだよな。たくも大人になったもんだぜ。この前一緒に帰ってたメガネの子のことは今夜だけは気にするなって。俺も田中のことは忘れるからよ。
What the hell was he talking about? I had to stand my ground and fight back, but to my horror, I realized that I was already at the top of the stairs. I was only at the second floor, where a slip and fall would hurt like hell. Just the thought made me stop resisting as hard. In that moment of weakness, my entire body weight was sent crashing through the door and into the venue. The second I hit the inside, an explosion of sound blasted my eardrums. I never experienced something that's so loud before. In the pit of my stomach was being forced to be shaken by the vibrations. It was so intense, I felt my entire body was being crushed to pieces. No seats in the venue. Everyone was standing up to watch. Sounds goth. They're all rocking their bodies and rhythm with each other, shouting FES, FES, with their fish up and down. Don't know what level to deliver of Wotagai performance, though. Wotagai performance. He was devastating. It made me want to vomit. I've been an otaku, but I was definitely not the type to obsess over idols or voice actors without being spiked. Honestly, I hated this kind of atmosphere. Guitar stuck out like a sore thumb, but thankfully nobody's paying any attention to me. There's so many people in front of me, I could barely see the stage far into the room. It was just a blinding stage lights and the faint figures of 4 people standing under them. What am I looking at? A door? I was getting overwhelmed by everything happening around me. Masumi-kun handed me a plastic cup of soda. I feel like Masumi-kun had paid for my ticket too. I'll have to make sure to pay him back later. Before I knew it, the song was over. The audience clapped and cheered. And having seemingly calmed down a little, everyone brought down their fists. Thanks to that, the road to the stage finally opened. I was able to see it clearly. I got a good look at the short-haired girl standing in front of the middle of the stage. Definitely not the demon girl. Are they tuning up? The demon girl?
声がクリアに聞こえる。世界がとても
What's up,
澄んでいる。
Petite? Good to see you. The voice coming through the amp sounded nothing like the demon girl that had said those cryptic words to me. Masumi-kun was right. FES definitely had a aloof vibe to her. Despite her short hair, she didn't feel boyish. She got off this mysterious aura with a mix of charm, allure, and a hint of distance. And to top it all off, the silver accessories she was wearing all glittered fantastically as they reflected the lights. I felt like I was starting to understand why there were so many threads about her on @channel. This kind of concert, I'd always thought that the band members would be more energetic, but FES seemed incredibly indifferent during the intermission. It's kind of like Danganronpa, yeah. It's also like the, who means that, Chunsoft or something? Also released by them. It was pretty much the exact opposite of the excited audience. Maybe that was just the type of person she was. It seemed like the audience wasn't surprised by that. Danganronpa, you have to do that kind of trial parts. You do a little bit more in that one. This you kind of just, it's parts you kind of can react negatively or positively. But there are a lot of them though. You do a lot more than most visual novels. Everyone stayed silent, listened to FES's words.
呼吸と性の門が閉じているからかもしれない。
What does that mean? Entrance to the underworld in Greek mythology. Otaku is the idol concert, of course, yeah. I'm sorry, what? Kokyuris? What language is he even speaking?
世界の均衡は大いなる意志が生まれてから数千年間保たれていた。
Oh.
でも今、それは崩れつつある。とても不安定。
Weird. A lot of guitar tuning.
だから、私は歌うわ。君たちのカオスを受け入れてあげる。
I guess they were a goth punk band, so the band members probably had characters they played. Maybe it was an easy way to win over the hearts of fans, just spout some random nonsense that hinted that it might mean something. Give enough mystique to keep people engrossed. Speaking of mystique, FES was holding something strange in her hand. Her left hand was a plain old mic, but in the other, she was holding some sort of weird-shaped mic stand. Kind of like a sword. Shaped so elegantly, it felt sinister. It looked so sharp, even if you grazed it, you might slice your finger in two. It was huge, too, as tall as FES, in fact. Oh no! She has that big sword we saw from the beginning of the game. Also lines of glass embedded into it, which glowed with an ominous blue light. Couldn't tell if it was really a sword or not, but either way, it wasn't half bad as character accessory, no complaints there. I was strangely captivated by it. Then, using only her right arm, FES casually lifted the huge mic stand. With an underhand grip, she swung it sideways. The blue light from the glass drew a wide arc with its afterglow. What the hell? That was so dangerous. What if it hit someone in the crowd? That wasn't a mic stand. Could it be a sword? Every night she'd use it to cut the throat of some poor audience member harvesting blood to offer to the demon girl or something? Was this concert actually some sort of black mass organized by a bunch of witches? Fear's chill ran down my spine just thinking about it. Goosebumps covered my entire body. I should really get out of here ASAP. But the moment I thought of that, FES let out a gentle whisper.
次は3曲目。密教の首飾り。
Oh, great. That's going to be the next murder. I let out a huge cry of joy upon hearing that. She remembered the necklace. It is that sword. That's another sword. There was a phantasm also playing a second flood of sound poured into my ears. Under a sword came from the speakers, and a roar that felt like it was going to blow out my eardrums. As people knock on Deaf It, hanging out in places like this all the time. Notice Misumi-kun was into it. Intro ended, FPS began to sing. I heard the lyrics and swallowed hard. You're singing the prophetic song that brought us all over at channel. It was a dark piece that didn't feel the slightest bit optimistic. Even its melody felt like a religious song. And the lyrics definitely didn't help. The guy's left-handed guitar is playing upside down. It's right-handed. It's cool, huh? Everyone was getting riled up at first. But as the song went on, the excitement dropped further and further, and by the end, everyone just stood there not saying a word. Now, because everyone was fully lost in the sound, someone just stared at FES completely entranced. Definitely something about FES' singing voice that captivated people. Even as I battled fear and nausea in the middle of the crowd, I found myself listening very closely to the song, not wanting to miss it. Goosebumps sprang up all over me for a moment. It felt like the air itself would be frozen over. Song ended. FES was looking down at the stage, swaying her body from side to side as she soaked in the last echoes of the music. Then she suddenly looked back up, and without even gazing around for a second, she instantly... What? Positive or negative? Looked at me. Oh, my positive then. Like FES. It wasn't like she'd just glanced in the general direction of my eyes, or like she'd briefly made eye contact with me or anything. She was blatantly looking right at me. As far as to say, she was staring at me fixedly, as if validating my existence. I was searching deep within my heart. It was all too intense, and yet somehow she seemed a little sad. She descended from the stage into the audience. I couldn't take my eyes off her. What was going on through her head, I wondered. The rest of the Phantasm members resumed playing. The FES wasn't singing this time. She just wandered about in the middle of the crowd. And she casually threw her jacket off, exposing her sexy shoulders. The previously quiet fans were getting excited once again. Everyone threw the fists in the air as they jumped up and down wildly. Made the ground shake so hard it felt like an earthquake. However, nobody laid a finger on FES. Maybe thought she was too holy of an existence to be touched. Normally, if a girl with her charisma dove into a crowd, it wouldn't be surprising if they got crushed to death. It seemed that Phantasm's herd of sheep had agreed to restrain themselves, all abiding by an unspoken rule to not touch FES. In doing so, they feel FES's presence right in front of them. They savor the fragrance of FES's sweat. They could touch the same air as FES. That was the greatest joy of the followers could ever know. Until this point, I thought this was just any other performance. I couldn't believe my eyes when I saw what FES did next. She casually began to unfasten the belt around her waist. She threw it into the crowd. All of her followers instantly reached for it, leaving with one another to lay a claim over it. With a sidelong glance at an FES. What? I zipped her miniskirt. What's happening? Her skirt gently fell to her feet. She has that sword. Her black, sensual underwear was exposed. It seemed to not have a care in the world about her acolytes seeing her in such revealing clothing. Maybe she was high off the atmosphere of the venue, or maybe this was part of her performance. Maybe she was just an exhibitionist. I had no idea, but utter eroticism kept my eyes glued to her all the same. FES looked at me once more, her lips formed a bewitching smile.
Oi, こっち来るぞ.
FES's eyes were fixed on me, never once looking elsewhere. She slowly started approaching, as she had found her target. Then when she finally arrived before my very eyes, as if I was her lover, she blew a sweet breath towards me. Wrapped her arms around me. What is this? Her skin was slightly damp with sweat. The scent and warmth were so alluring they made me dizzy. Her breast pressed up against me quickly and repeatedly rubbing up and down my body. I guess it's true what they say about singing being exhausting, because I could feel her ragged breath directly on my skin. Her arms were wrapped around my back, holding me close. Rails were digging into the nape of my neck, and her thighs were twined around my leg. Shivers ran through my entire body like jolts of electricity. I wasn't able to push her aside, nor could I return her embrace. The only thing I could do was stand still, with staring at her eyes with wide in confusion. Wait, this is the, oh, I'm tripping again. This is delusion. My followers cheered again, but this time the noises they sounded more like screams. The music played by Phantasm intensified. Chants of FPS echoed throughout the venue. And chants of do it began to follow. Do what exactly? In situations like this, what could they be talking about? I had no idea. FPS meanwhile just kept hugging me in silence. Seeking help, I looked for Musumi-kun's silhouette in the crowd. When I found him, to my surprise, he was sharing an intense kiss with a girl in the crowd I'd never seen before. No, it wasn't just Musumi-kun. The rest of the acolytes, boys and girls, were throwing their clothes off, getting naked. It's the day they were born. Some embraced one another, others placed lips together. Some even beginning to do the deed. All the screams of pandemonium complemented the gluttony for carnal pleasure. Moans, groans, the obscene sounds of flesh rubbing against flesh pervaded throughout the venue where Phantasm had just performed. Oh, wait. I was going a little crazy here. This is a black mass. I finally realized it. This is an obscene feast hosted by the witch known as FES. More importantly, the sacrifice brought in for the witch today was me. I had been chosen as the partner for FES. Is this really what a Phantasm concert was like? I also began to lose myself in the atmosphere. I could feel a hazy mist engulfing my mind. What was that? I felt excitement for what was going to come, but also dread. But superior, having been chosen by FES, but also completely entranced by ecstasy. Thought I was going insane. The time the world had stopped completely. FES's laughter reached my ears once more. Even in this flood of sound, I could hear her voice clear as day. What a sexy voice. Just hearing the sound would put me on the verge of fainting. The FES was seducing me into diving further and further into this melting pot of pleasure. Her teeth lightly sank into my earlobe. She let it aside right into my ear, and then she whispered, Nope. Everybody keeps saying this again and again. Oh. No, Beck. I didn't even go to the concert at all. Oh, wait, did I go? Maybe I did go and it didn't go in. What happened? In front of my PC, I got completely lost in another delusion of mine. Concert I'd gone to earlier today. Okay, so I did go to the concert at least. Great inspiration. After all, as far as 3 girls went, FES was pretty nice. That said, the number of people in the crowd had been way too high. Hell, it'd have to freeze over for me to go there again. I wanted to get the fuck out basically the entire time. In the end, the size of the crowd made me too sick, so I had to rush to leave the venue. Today's delusion had been awesome, and who knows, maybe Phantasm and FES actually did that kind of stuff. Just decided to skip today. Well, anyways, let's log into ESO or something. Me, ESO is my life. It was my happy place, a breath of fresh air that let me forget all about the real world. As long as I could immerse myself in ESO, I could forget about all my troubles. I stopped being me and instead wander baselard as Neidhart. Today, for some reason, Neidhart was a little off. Yes, I knew that he relied entirely on my inputs and my decisions, but somehow I found myself struggling to pull off things I could normally do with my eyes closed. It was supposed to be a breath of fresh air, but today, the more I played it, the more irritated I got. I knew it was all my fault, but I still took my anger out of Neidhart. You suck. I yanked on my hair and kicked the bare steel wall. Having let out all my anger, I took a deep breath and sat back down on my chair. I stared vacantly at my monitor. Neidhart was just standing there, facing towards the gates of the city of Shangri-Lu, free of my control. His back was facing towards me, just as it always was when he fought enemies. Of course, he was at max level. Human known as Nishiju Takumi leveled up even slightly since he started playing ESO? No, since he'd been born? I had, then why was I still so bad at talking to people, even though I was nearly an adult? Was I borderline shut-in? I didn't log in as Neidhart for weeks. He also turned into a shut-in like me? Whose eyes are those eyes? Oh no. I only remembered those words as I stared at Neidhart's back. I was mildly interested in what Neidhart would do when I wasn't controlling him, so I figured I'd observe him for a little bit. Left my keyboard alone as I ate some chips, so what the hell? And surely as he'd waltz right into the city of Shangri-Lu, wind blowing against his shoulders, right? He was a hero everyone worshipped after all. What? What is this? I'm sorry. It's negative or positive? I don't understand what he's talking about. I don't like talking to the characters. It's ridiculous. You disobeyed Nightheart. Oh no, I'm tripping again. And then when it was enveloped in a dazzling light. I'm back by how random and sudden it was. I shut my eyes.
気づいてないと思ったのか?
What? My voice.
いつも俺はお前の命令に従ってきたのに。
Characters talking back to me. This is coming from the monitor.
俺の中の人がここまでバカだとは思わなかったぜ。
Oh, you suck. Who are you? I opened my eyes, but the light from the board completely paralyzed me. I couldn't see a thing.
もういい。俺はお前を捨てる。これからは自由に生きる。
On my own now. Going to WoW. It's more fun than this base lard crap. No way, are you Nightheart? What do you mean you casted me out?
そのままの意味だ。だからお前はバカなんだ。
I'm the one that made your character. You gonna rebel against me?
そうだ。もううんざりだ。何が疾風陣雷だ。中二病にも程があるだろう。
No.
お前にわかるか？俺がどんな気持ちでそう呼ばれていたか。お前はかっこいいつもりだったかもしれないがな。俺からすれば恥ずかしいだけなんだよ。でも俺は自分の言葉を発することもできず、じっと耐えるしかなかったんだ。
How can you talk now?
うるさい！生意気だぞ！そんなこと言うなら消すぞ！
勝手にしろ。
Can't delete me.
だがな、これだけは覚えておけ。
Unlimited backup copies.
お前が俺をボタン一つで消せるように、お前もお前の中の人にボタン一つで消される程度の存在なんだと。
They're controlling you? Wait, is that me? What the heck?
まあ、実際にはそんなことあるわけないけどね。
Good. Forced to laugh in response to my delusion and stared at Nightheart. This is always completely still and silent in the world of Baselard. I think I'll take things a bit easier today. That thought in mind, I resume my play session. Another guy now? For another guy, I should stop playing for a sec here. I'll tell you exactly what happened. Oh, I went to school the day before I knew it. I found myself going to buy a phone with my little sister. Okay, we're going to buy a phone with your sister. All right. You don't understand what I'm saying, but I don't really understand it either. I thought I was going insane. Wait, what?
お兄？何ブツブツ言ってんの？それよりほら、この騎士はどうかって聞いてるんだけど。
He looks kind of like the killer. All right, let's save it here. These are kind of fun to sort of change things up a little bit. On chapter 2. All right. I mean, I'm gonna keep playing through this entire game. Obviously, it's really, really fun. Hopefully, there's not like insane amounts of paths I gotta take to, get the real ending or whatever. We'll figure it out. This is a lot of fun, though. Thanks for hanging around today. I had a lot of fun. I'll be back tomorrow for some more wrestling, of course. Let me get out of this. Thanks, Walrus. Yeah, I'll be back tomorrow for some more wrestling. There should be some Stardom by then, of course. We still have that, was it a Korakuen show? No, it was the Osaka show. A fairly big show to get to. I want to quit. Not let me quit. Escape? Oh, escape. It says backspace, not escape. Alright. Oh. Odd. Where'd Steam go? Oh. Alright. Thanks for hanging out, everyone. I had a lot of fun tonight. Or today. Like I said, come back tomorrow for some wrestling. For some more gaming, come back Wednesday at 11 a.m. Pacific time. 2 p.m. Eastern time. And yeah, let's find someone to raid. Thanks for hanging around, guys. Yeah, the game's interesting for sure. It's a little weird. I definitely gotta see what happens. I mean, the plot is all over the place. Oh yeah, Sumo starts coming weekend. Let's see. Solo Darling playing Killer Instinct. What the hell? There's a good Pete playing Hole. What is that? I gotta figure out what that is. This is a show. This isn't a game. Is it? It's like a game show. Let's rate him. Alright, definitely give a good Pete a follow once we get there. Thanks, Walrus. Everybody have a great day. Definitely come back tomorrow for some wrestling. I hope to see you again soon. Say hello, say goodbye.
Don't worry, Smithy. Don't worry, Smithy. The normal guy's turned up. Okay, this one's getting a prediction. Oh, who won? It was Billy Andrew, okay.
Who is? I'm Michael from Hertfordshire. Michael from Hertfordshire, girls, you turned on.